Hello, everyone. What is going on? My name is Timpedia, and welcome back to the TNT Podcast, episode 74?
Something along those lines. I think 74.
You never check. It's
I'm
I
opening
checked
it.
last week. We're fine.
Look, the last video I uploaded was episode 73, so.
So we
There you
must be
go.
episode 75. There's no other explaining it.
Yeah, we skipped time jump. We're going to do short news this week because there's not a lot that happened in the world. But also, we're going to try to actually get to a topic for the first time in an eternity.
like literally forever.
Actually, no.
But before we start, I'm Tim, your host, and on my right,
Friedman, also known as Andrew, but mostly known as Friedman.
and on my left,
Tyler, or also known as just Tyler, or also known as Big Titty Anime.
To the anime expert.
Tyler, I'm just going to tell you now, you're a little quiet.
Am I a little quiet? All right,
Now
how
you're
about,
great.
How about now?
Now you're great.
All right, I am the
Much better.
My voice is
He's
as big as my titties.
better. Much better.
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
Anyway, it wouldn't be an episode of the podcast if we didn't start with Magic and then immediately go into Overdank. But this is very quick Magic news. This is just super cool. So War of the Spark spoilers concluded on Friday, didn't they?
Yeah, we got the whole set last Friday.
Yeah, they just, because of their spoiler rollout, we actually didn't have, there's not much more to cover, but we're really not going to cover any of that. Oh shit, outside of the Gideon, they announced the spell book.
No, we talked about this on Saturday during our special.
Oh right, we did our special Magic video, so that counts for this too. Anyway, so we got the full set spoiler. If you want to hear me and Friedman talk about it and do commander upgrades, there's a video I put out the other day, or a live stream we actually did together where we just, for 2.5 hours, talked about the new set and upgraded my commander decks.
Yeah, didn't even invite me, your boy.
You would have literally been taking
really
a nap.
bored.
It was.
I know, I would have been asleep. The audience is used to me being asleep.
Tyler, most of the chat was like, hey, this is pretty fucking boring. We don't know what's going on, but we're just here to hang out.
The last person to comment in the chat was, "This game looks complicated."
Yeah, that was the last
Damn.
comment for like the last half hour. There was nobody watching. We had like 5 people.
Well, I mean, you need some big titty anime.
There it is.
girls in there.
Anyway,
And that's what we're here to talk about right now.
really.
Big titty anime in my MTG.
So,
Yes.
as you could see before I remembered to turn off my preview and cover it up with the podcast of my desktop like an idiot. Basically, Wizards announced yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before, Freeman? On Sunday or? No, it was yesterday because we would have probably...
I thought this was today they announced this.
They announced this No, they definitely announced this yesterday. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, this article went live yesterday, but I hadn't seen it till today.
See, you shared it, and I was on our Facebook group, and I'm like, Freeman's just sharing this really late for some weird reason. It's like, no,
I was sick yesterday, so I was like off my computer the entire day, so I didn't see anything.
Anyway, what are we talking about? Wizards announced, hey, you guys know how in the past we did alternate art versions of promos and stuff like that, and one time way in the past, Wizards put out an alternate version of a dual deck, Jace versus Chandra, with different art in Japan by Japanese artists. Well, Wizards, for whatever crazy reason, decided, hey, you know what we should do to sell more War of the Spark? Why don't we say if you buy a Japanese pack of cards of War of the Spark, as we know War of the Spark also comes with a Planeswalker in every pack, well, if you buy a pack of Japanese War of the Spark, you have a 50-50 chance that Planeswalker is an alternate art Japanese version of that Planeswalker card. And all 36 Planeswalkers in the set have new artwork on a card with Japanese text. So you better know what the card does, or
call a judge over.
Or call a judge.
Are beautiful.
But I'd say like 3/4 of these are as good, if not better, than the standard art. Does that sound fair, Freeman? Because some of these are pretty.
A couple
dopey.
of them are just a little too waifu deviant art looking here.
Like, if you scroll down this Imgur link, like the colorless ones, Karn and Ugin, they both look great. Gideon looks kind of terrible. He's
The
very
Wanderer looks insane.
like Wanderer looks like the most anime character ever. Like even Shield Boy looks like he's actually doing something.
Bro, but why Japanese though?
What do
Is
you
it
mean, why
because it's of a
Japanese?
Japanese style?
No,
So
actually,
just to clarify, Wizards of the Coast runs a competing game, Duel Masters, in Japan, and they've gone
Oh
off the deep
shit,
end.
Duel Masters?
And
Yo,
they
I
have like,
played Duel Masters.
I remember watching the anime. I never understood how that game was played though, but it was
The
dope.
game was Magic but shitty.
Exactly. But the point is, in Duel Masters, they've embraced the anime style a long time ago. But since Wizards of Japan already published that, they're like, you know what? Let's get the aesthetic that this market likes, because let's be real here. The Japanese like the anime aesthetic. That's why it exists.
Nani?
Duel Masters is shitty.
Which is why they decided to bring the aesthetic to Magic.
I see.
And a lot of these look really cool. Some of them lean a little too hard into like waifu territory.
Yeah, the what are they called? The Nissa and the Vivian are
A little out
prominently thrusting their chests forward.
Yo, are you gonna get Val her vampire boy? Then?
So no joke. In our other in another chat, I told Freeman on Luigi, Val has all. I showed Val the Sorin, and she said, "You must buy me that."
Damn,
he
you
looks
must
like
buy
looks like Dio.
He looks like Dio
Oh shit, he does.
in fucking Castlevania. Like, this is the sickest Sorin art ever, and I'm probably gonna have to buy one for Val eventually.
Son of Dio.
But Sorin definitely got an upgrade here. Even though he looked really good in the set, this is fucking stellar.
That's probably one of the coolest ones here.
Like I said, a lot of these look really good. Kaya has this really old style. It's like very flat, like 90s anime, but it doesn't look that good compared to the detail and animation look on a lot of these other ones.
I like it, but
like on the
it's not as good
Imager
as
link,
the
you
real
see
art.
Kiora right below her, and you're like, wow, Kiora looks way better than Kaya. Nahiri, I promise we're gonna get to the good one, but just to start at the bottom, Nahiri, Val is probably happy to hear this, but Nahiri doesn't look very good.
She's actually the worst.
She has
Her
a
art's all
very
kinds of wrong.
she has an extremely bored look on her face, which is funny because I'm pretty sure the artist is the same as the one who did Soren because they're fighting each other. Yeah, it is. What,
Kind
Tyler?
of like I was gonna say, the bored look on her face, like probably similar to my face right now.
Oh my god! You said you liked a bunch of this. Nicol Bolas looks actually kind of worse, only because
terrible.
the art is so good in the base set. But like Ral looks fucking awesome. Even Domri's terrible. Johnny
I
looks
love the
good.
effects going outside of the frame on a lot of these cards.
Yes, so many of these have like the text is covered or like the parts of the planeswalker are like flying over the text box, and even one. I think there's one of them. If you remember, I'm hearing myself again.
I am so far away from this microphone. How's this happening?
Like if you look at the Tameo, like the scrolls curve onto the like nameplate and then even sit under the fucking set symbol, which is really cool. But and also Tybalt has never looked so dapper.
Only time he's gonna look this good.
But the real star of the show, you can talk about it, Freeman. You know this a lot better than I do.
So this was the big announcement that Liliana was going to be covered by an artist known worldwide. So let me get his full name. So I don't really know his last name off the top of my head. Yoshitaka Amano, who did the artwork for Final Fantasy, I think leading up to Final Fantasy VII. He did all of the key character art. He's doing the new Liliana, and oh boy, she looks beautiful.
So I will
like
say,
classic Final Fantasy style.
Yeah. So you guys both, we talked about this for a second before the podcast. I don't know that style, and for me, this looks really impressive, but is not the kind of style I would actually play. But this is
not cool.
I know. But this is these, especially in foil, are going
Also,
to
considering
sell.
It's a mythic. This is probably going to be the most expensive.
They probably
part
just
of this set.
Jace the Mind Sculptor is going to be in the Mythic edition of this set, and that's probably not going to cost as much as this Liliana does.
Yeah, for real.
Like, And people were I saw on the Reddit thread, like, people were commenting, I mean, this guy is so huge in Japan, it's like $10,000 to buy a piece of his art at like a gallery show of his, bare minimum. So you have to imagine
I
how much
believe it.
Wizards had to drop to get him to do this. But I mean, like, people were instantly talking, how do I get my store to buy Japanese packs just so we can get these? Like,
This is how they boost their Japanese sales numbers.
it's gonna fucking work. Like, wow.
It's fucking weeb collectors. They'll do anything for these.
Weeb collectors.
I mean, this is really cool though. Like, this is a really cool promotional thing to do.
I know. I'm glad they're doing this. This is really cool because it's not like this isn't like a power creep kind of thing. This is more just like a collector's art kind of thing.
if I could buy a piece of Homeboy's artwork, I totally would.
Oh, I'm sure.
I wish I had that kind of money.
Right.
Just to casually fly over to Japan and buy something at a gallery.
Buy
of this.
limited
I wanna
artwork from
casually
Amano.
just go there. and
Tyler,
just
if you
get a
want, you could just
translator.
Tyler, if you want, you could just spend $2,000 on one of the foils of this card.
Oh man.
Then you'll have
That
a tiny
sounds-
pocket-sized version of his art.
Yeah, sounds like a great idea.
But yeah, we definitely don't need to dwell on this, but this is just a really cool promotion, and a lot of these artists are tied to like various card games and that kind of thing, and some of them are Duel Masters artists, but it's just really cool to see, because people always kind of accuse Wizards of just focusing on the North American market, and it's kind of cool to go with something so totally like, we're English speakers, we're not going to be able to read these cards. We would only get these for absolute bling value if you love these cards and can tell everyone exactly what they do.
The only problem is it can be annoying having to face an opponent with foreign language cards. I remember the first time I played against
Yes.
Affinity, I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And it's like, "It's a Glimmer Void." I'm like, "Okay, well, it doesn't tell me what it does."
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "Okay, well, hold on, I'm gonna call over a judge because I can't really explain it." I'm like, at that point, I was like, "All right, my
What?
opponent doesn't even know what the card does. This is bad."
That's bad.
No,
you shouldn't
that's-
even be running that card then.
I totally agree that that's bad. But I mean, these, like, spikes are always going to buy like random bling things. Like the meme in Magic is foil stomping, or what is it?
If you play a
Russian.
foil Russian Stomping Ground instead of an original duel, because the foil Russian Stomping Ground is more rare, so it's to prove a point to your opponent. It's not
So
about
dumb.
price. I literally do not care about losing 2 life in this matchup against you. It's some of the most bullshit
it's
things
so
you can
dumb.
do in Magic.
Spikes are always going to be kind of dickheads like that, but these are for my people. These are for Commander players who know what their
I thought you
deck
were
does.
gonna say weeaboos.
God no.
Weeaboo,
I don't call myself that yet.
trash.
No, these are for people who want to collect and people who want to have really cool stuff that when everyone's sitting around the table, they go, "Wow, that looks so cool." And I mean, that's what Commander is. So yeah, I would
Yeah, they're all pretty dank.
like, if I was building a colorless deck, I'd probably buy this Karn and Ugin, because like the Ugin is fucking amazing compared to the one in the set. And like you said, the Wanderer Freeman, like,
It looks
God,
so
if
beautiful.
only Gideon didn't look so dumb. I just staring at Gideon like, I mean, he looks really good, but he's just in a dumb pose, and then the other one, like the base art, is way more exciting. Anyway, we can move off of the weeb shit.
Yes,
Magic
I
Edition.
tried our transition by calling all the cards dank because it's time that we talk about Overdank. So last week we discussed that the new event had come out literally day of last week's podcast. So afterwards we all hopped on, we went to go play it. And I remember getting to the end of it, and all of us were like super hyped to see what happens next, and then it just kind of ended.
We rode on the cart and it
Yeah.
slammed into the wall, and then we stopped in
I was just
midair.
like, oh, cutscene. All right, it's over. All right, who's this guy? And the general sentiment around the community is that this event is bad, and I'm curious what you guys thought of it.
I mean, I only played it the one time we played with Aiden, but
And this is the only like PV spring event you've played so far, right? Like you haven't played the other two.
I played the Halloween one, and that was it.
Okay, so you haven't played Uprising or the.
Yeah, I can't compare it, but
Oh, okay, we should try those at some point.
man,
They're fun. But
To be
Tyler, what do you
honest,
think?
I wasn't a big fan of it. Like, I gave it some more thought afterwards, and I was like, yeah, nah.
Yeah, after grinding it out 9 times last week, it's like so short and the lore implications are absolutely ass. Like there's
There was
I walked
nothing.
away from it knowing there's some Omnic dude who's talking to Doomfist, and that's it. That's all I took away from this whole thing.
There it was just like you said, just to reiterate, just too short. The the challenges didn't seem that substantial or anything like that. The only one and like was that when we were in the warehouse section of it, it just felt like a slog. It felt like it just took way too long. It felt like everything was padded.
Yeah, like it made sense in like how do I put this? So in the first event, there were a couple sections where you're paused on a spot, and all of them had to do with like getting the payload to move so you can do the second half of the map, which is payload. And that made perfect sense. The second year's campaign, you're moving the whole time. The only time you're not moving from place to place is the last scene where it's like the helicopter's coming in, hold out, and that's when they throw all the enemies at you. And that was cool because it led to like kind of a climactic ending to it. Whereas in this one, like you get to the warehouse, I for the love of God can't tell you why we spent a half an hour in there. Like I don't know even like in story why the fuck were we putzing around in this warehouse for a half hour?
Right. Yeah, it wasn't very clear.
Yeah,
But and that it sucked because the premise was cool, right? Like
yeah, and the big problem the community has right now is this event is the only time every year the Overwatch lore moves at all, and we didn't move at all. We did a face reveal of a character whose face we've never seen and name we don't know, which completely kills any kind of like interest surrounding it.
Yeah.
Because we know about as much as him before he revealed his face as when after. So I don't know.
Maybe next time.
Blizzard has expressed they want to spend more effort on things that are permanent to the game, like new maps or game modes, rather than like seasonal events. But the problem is, like, seasonal events kind of builds excitement for the game, and if you release an event and literally the next day, all your big Overwatch channels are talking about like, why was this event ass? That's bad optics.
Sorry.
I don't know. It just sounds like this is way too much for small indie dev.
I mean, I also remember that you
Small
said,
indie dev.
didn't you say, Freeman, that like all these enemies are just repeat enemies anyway? Like there
Yeah,
wasn't even anything new.
so last year they added all the enemies in with that last event. And this one there wasn't anyone new. All the units are exactly the same as the last event, which is annoying. Like, a lot of people showed up concepts like because all of the characters are essentially like reskins of existing characters with some modified abilities for the sake of not making it like a straight one. Oh, it's you're fighting Robo Roadhog or anything. But the idea was there were so many other characters that you could have just like robofied for the event, but they elected to not do that. Instead, just reuse the assets from last year.
Because the guards don't change even though you haven't played it in a year.
So the only thing that's new is this new map, which is becoming a regular map in game. And then I guess just the voice lines used for the story. And then, you know, if you want to give them some credit, the cutscenes were nice. But
they were like a minute.
That's all they were. They were nice.
All it was guy and car tracer chase.
Hey, we got our first motorcycle chase in all of Overwatch.
Oh my god. She was on the motorcycle for 20 seconds. Oh god. I don't know.
It was disappointing to say the least.
I mean, I would play it again only because I only play Overwatch for PvE anyway, because
I get free
fucking
boxes.
bad, but
that's
yeah, for real. That's why I love this event.
I mean, are we doing that after again?
Yeah, we'll do the other ones that aren't this year's event because they're all available to play right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You know what else is available to play?
Super
Smash Brothers. But more importantly, Persona 5, the only bit that's on Nintendo Switch. Joker from Persona 5 just got released last, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. It came out alongside the leaked stage builder. First thing I want to say is Joker's really cool. They reused a lot of mechanics. Like he has like a charge meter that's kind of similar to the way Clouds works. I'm not upset about that because I like the way Clouds works. But Joker, everyone's joking around that like this is an E-rated game and half of Joker's skills are like
joking around,
pulling out his gun and shooting people. And I was like, "Are you sure this is E-rated?"
Hell yeah.
But then the stage builder also dropped, and to no one's surprise, it's all just meme stages. Like I've seen so many SpongeBob stages today alone.
Just instantaneously.
Like it's not even 24 hours. It's all just joke stages. But don't get me wrong, I love.
What else was it going to be? Come on.
Oh, I thought they'd have like fun challenge. Like there was one stage where just like the floor is actually lava.
Hell no.
So the question is, can you kill your opponent before the lava kills you? Kind of thing. Except it's just like I saw one of just fucking Patrick with his head in
Yep.
a tuba.
I
Oh
saw
my
that too.
God.
I
Is
saw
this
that.
stage an instrument?
Is this stage an instrument?
That one's a short story, nothing too big there. The one big thing to come out of this was
Can
when
we
they
not-
released Joker with Persona 5, they released
Can-
a shit ton of Persona content into Smash. Like the stage changes themes and songs throughout the battle, so it has like Persona 5 themed, and then it changes color schemes, and everything's suddenly Persona 3 and Persona 4 themed. So there's way more stuff than people thought were going to be added.
Clearly,
like
they
12
love
full tracks.
Persona. Whoever the developers.
I think
are like,
Alice just handed over all the assets to like just make it big, just build excitement for this. I wouldn't be surprised if Persona 5 gets released on Switch. I wouldn't be surprised if we heard that anytime soon.
No, I'm sighing because.
But a bullshit controversy was born out of this whole thing because for I think the first time since the Japanese OST release, the extended version of the Persona 5 opening theme has been like released to the general public. And in the what do you want to call it? Like, so there's typical song structure has like a verse, chorus, and there's something else before the last chorus. Normally your guitar solo goes here, but when it's vocals, I don't know what you call it, but it's like it's not really a verse. Point is, the singer, who does not speak English very well at all in any of the Persona 5 songs, is just kind of like spitting out random words. And then she goes to say, and we're not really sure what it is because the official lyrics haven't been revealed. And it sounds like she's trying to say retort it or retarget. But if you're not really listening, it sounds kind of like retarded. And this word is just said with no context in the middle of the song. So Kotaku UK posted an article about how Persona 5 and Smash Bros. Are pushing derogatory statement. I don't know.
God,
Point is, it's one of those like
please.
fictionalized controversies. And thankfully, the internet was wise enough to be like, "This is actually bullshit," and now you're just making fun of her.
So apparently, what happened? Because I was listening to one of my podcasts today, and they actually talked about it a little bit. Apparently, it was a writer there who heard the song after being told, "Do you hear or by someone saying, hey, it sounds like they say the word retarded here." So then you have confirmation bias. Listened to the song, heard it, heard retarded, asked someone else after saying, hey, do you hear retarded here? And then wrote the article and sent it off to the editor. And before they waited for a comment from the developers or Atlas or whoever, they just posted the article. And then the editor was like, yeah, I fucked up. Shouldn't have posted this. But it's like...
Jesus Christ.
But when the article was published, it had at the bottom, "We are currently awaiting a response from Atlas and Nintendo."
You can't do that. You can't. In today's day and age, all people care about is the headline.
Yeah, you can't shoot first, ask questions later.
You can't fucking post that and be like, we don't know if this is true in the article, because everyone's going to see the headline and freak out.
See, this is why journalistic integrity is important, and that's why I keep using that phrase on our podcast.
Fake news.
For real. On to some news that, fuck it. This isn't going to inspire Tyler to play Kingdom Hearts 3.
Fuck
But
no.
Kingdom Hearts 3 had its first big free DLC update today. Critical mode was added, and not the director, but whoever's in charge of like the post-launch content spoke very heavily about how the reason they didn't include this at launch was they needed to rebalance big parts of the game to make critical mode actually significantly challenging. One of the big things that Tyler and I talked about in our scathing review of Kingdom Hearts 3 was that there were too many like extra bonus things that they just kind of hand to you to do in combat. And one of the big things is I think they limit you to only one at a time, and they decrease the frequency that any are granted to you. On top of that, they did say that for the most part in Kingdom Hearts 3, you could ignore the whole cooking system because you don't really need the bonuses. But they said that you better get real familiar with the cooking system if you're really trying to like complete critical mode.
Jesus
So it seems like they
Christ.
balanced it around like needing
Being
more
way
stats.
weaker.
So I personally do not want to play Kingdom Hearts 3 this close to when I last beat it, but next time I play Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm going to give it a shot on critical mode just to see how much they changed it.
I still haven't gotten my copy back from my friend.
Oh, you
You're
lent
in
it out?
no rush.
I lent it out like second week I had it.
Oh, you should have like traded in while it was still worth something.
I probably should have, but
That doesn't trade in games.
think of it. I really don't trade in games. I've been
Collectors
trying
don't
to make
trade
that
in
To
a
be fair,
policy.
who does trade in games that much these days, other than
So-
like kids?
So I think I explained this. I have one friend who he will trade in his entire console and games to buy like a new console and some games, and this is how he just mitigates the cost of wanting to play everything. He just never replays games, and I respect that about him. But at the same time, I can never do that. I'm
But you're also
constantly replaying old
fucking
games.
insane.
Actually, well, no, he's not insane. He's just unreasonable. Is
He's
the
just
word I use.
He's full circle.
Hey man,
Full circle.
He's retarded.
He's retarded.
God damn it!
Making
God,
it so
that
much
was, that was
worse.
bad on multiple levels. All
Yep.
right, let's get out of Japanese game news. And
Oh,
move
let's
on
talk
to-
about white
to
girls
some-
crying.
Let's move on to the
Damn,
big,
some white girls.
the big future news of this week. We are in the Endgame of Endgame.
Yeah.
So,
Yo, y'all seen
are you
it
guys gonna go
opening
see it
week
this
or
weekend?
what? Oh
Uh,
shit! See, with the same question. No.
Val and I are planning on seeing it on Saturday morning.
Damn.
Dude, I don't
I'm
know if our
seeing it next
theaters
week.
I don't know if our theater's opening early or what, but there's an 8:30 a.m. showing this Saturday, and I feel like most theaters don't open at 8:30 on a Saturday.
No, I don't know most that are open before 9.
Yeah, so
Trying to squeeze in that extra viewing.
I mean, dude, I don't even know. This is apparently like, aren't the numbers already titanic? Like, people are
just on
talking about,
pre-sale?
yeah, like people are talking about how pre-sales are like selling out across the country. Like 2 weeks ago, this was happening. Even this is when me and Val started talking about when we'd even go. Like I was actually floating the idea of trying to go to like one of those 10 o'clocks on Thursday. But Val's like, no, we can't we can't miss any D&D.
Well, oh, you're talking about this Thursday?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
no.
Thursday.
I would say next Thursday would be fine because I'm not around. But
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it's coming out this Thursday, Freeman. God.
yeah, big problem. So my problem is I'm not seeing an opening weekend because I can't stand the Marvel fanboys in
I
theaters
can't
yelling
stand
and
it either.
clapping and
I ain't
shit.
doing it.
Next weekend I'm out of the country and gonna be busy. So I'm looking at like 2 weeks after release. I'm gonna go try and see like a matinee on the weekend.
See, it's going to be fucking
It's gonna
way.
get spoiled.
Like, again, podcast I was listening to today, they're like, yeah, you better watch it by Monday if you care. I'm like, yep, got to watch it by Monday.
I need to just,
Tyler's
turn
like,
off
yep, don't
everything.
care.
Yeah, I honestly don't care. I'd rather get it spoiled for me than go to the theater and like
Have to deal with
sit-
other people.
I can't do it. I honestly can't do it. Like it'll make me walk
Wait,
out.
so
of
who's
the
Leslie
theater. I
going
hate
with?
it. Probably Dave.
Oh, I assumed you guys would go.
I mean, I'll go with her, but she knows how I feel about
Yeah,
it.
but then you're still going to go, so what are you even talking
No,
about?
I'm going. No, I'm going, but she knows how I feel like I'm not going opening weekend.
So you're saying you'll go to she'll go to a second viewing. There's
I
no
don't
way.
know.
There's no way she's not watching it this weekend.
Yeah, she's got to see another viewing of Bucky doing literally anything on screen.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll go with I'll go with Leslie if she wants to go with
So
me. Like,
you
I'm
big
cool.
liar.
What are you talking
You're
about?
saying
I'm
I won't
confused.
go this weekend. Okay.
Yeah.
But as
And if
soon
she
as
goes this weekend, I'm not going.
okay, that's what it sounded like you were
Yeah.
saying you would then go if she wanted
No.
to though. Okay.
No,
okay, okay.
absolutely not.
Now it's clear.
I told every one of my friends who wanted to get tickets, who wanted to buy tickets like 2 weeks ago. They're like, Tyler, you gonna buy tickets with us? Come on, you gotta buy tickets. I'm like, absolutely not.
So
I'm waiting
Tyler,
at least 1 week.
but you see, you're complaining about opening weekend moviegoers, but we were talking about going to a movie opening weekend. So
I know, I realized that. I realized that. Like after we stop talking
So
about
then
it,
what
I'm
are we
like,
doing, Tyler? Are we not going now? Are we not
No, we're going because
Are we
you
not
know why? Because-
Godzilla?
No,
Jesus
because
Christ.
people going to go see Godzilla are not
Are
as
not
big
Marvel
faggots.
fans.
Yeah, 1000%.
Hold on, but keep in mind, you're going to be going to see it near an anime convention.
Oh,
You know
stop!
what kind of
Like
people
any
these
of
are.
no. Like
Nah, man,
any
no,
of
no.
them.
All right, listen. All right, Weeb fans are not a fan of real Japanese things. Okay?
Yeah, exactly. Or Americanized Japanese, even worse.
Hold on,
Especially-
so I want you to imagine, take every weeb from Colossal Con, put them in a room.
No,
and
no,
I want
no,
you
no,
to
no.
I want you to pull out the 1% that like
Freeman.
genuinely gives enough of a shit about Japan that they want to go see Godzilla.
I don't give
What
a
kind
shit
of
about
person
Japan.
do
I
you-
give a shit
what
about
kind of person
Godzilla.
Who do you think that person is, though?
Mm.
There's not going to
not
be
who you
that
wanna
many.
see Godzilla with.
No, because the overlap of people who are going to the convention but aren't going to want to either hang out late at night or go to like get some sleep to do day activities. Like the percent, it's not even going to be 1% of the people who want to go.
But are you willing
It's
to
going to
let
be
that
like me,
1%
Tyler, and
ruin
like
your movie?
5 other people in the whole convention who are like, yeah, let's go see Godzilla while we're here. Hell, or if there's a showing the Thursday night you guys arrive, me and Tyler could just fucking peace out and go to a 10 o'clock showing if there is one.
Oh, we're gonna have to leave mad early if you want to make that 10 o'clock showing.
What?
Now I'm thinking though. Now I'm.
Tyler, are you really not going to go see Godzilla with me while you're here?
No,
Wow.
don't listen to my bullshit. I'm just trying to scare you guys.
No, I feel. But you make a good point.
No, he does.
He
Freeman, I
does. don't
fucking
know,
hate you.
man. No, I mean,
I
I'm
know
gonna
Tyler's
go-
fucking with me, but
You're just gonna
Jesus.
drag him along. It's fine.
I
at
mean,
the
I'm
end
going to
of-
see Godzilla.
At the end of the day, I have to see it with you because you're not around.
And I'm the
so-
only other person who gives a shit.
Well, Leslie does.
Oh,
but you
fuck
give
off.
more
You
of a
see every
shit than
movie
she
with her.
does.
Yeah, that's true, too.
I actually don't. I haven't seen. Well, all right, half. I see half the movies I see.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying.
It used to be every when you lived in the house
It
together.
used to, and then she started hanging out with Dave. So now they
That's
see
true.
like, but he'll only see like certain movies though. He won't see every movie because he's kind of a square in that way.
Damn.
Jesus.
I'm trying to say it in the nicest way
I
possible,
know.
dude. Well, cause all right, yeah. I mean, like Light Flame. I tried talking to him,
Light
like, yo, man,
flame?
Light Flame. I'm like, yo, what are you into? And he's like, oh, well, like Thor's cool. Alright,
What?
so like, what movies do you watch? You see John Wick? I don't really, go see movies like that. I'm like, oh,
Like what? Like
just
awesome?
anything. Like anything. He just doesn't really watch anything, I guess.
What does that even mean? What does that mean
Dude.
you don't watch anything?
He watches Marvel movies.
I like Thor, I
it.
guess. Shut the
Yeah,
front
that's it.
door. Jesus.
That's it, man.
Oh
he
my
just
God.
likes the Marvel movies.
can't-
Like
We
Thor
can't.
3 or all of them?
He likes
All
Thor: The
of
Dark
them.
World.
Homie loves the Thor. Like
Oh my
I'll
God.
tell you something. I tried talking to him about like so many things,
Tyler,
and then what?
we're on the podcast.
Yeah, we're on the air right now. Everyone's listening.
Maybe we
I'm
should
aware.
save this for after the podcast.
All I'm saying, dude really likes Thor. I'm not bashing him at all. I'm just like, dude,
All
dude
I'm
just
saying-
likes Thor, and that's it. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not-
when you
I'm not
say
bashing,
it's when
just
you
like
say
you-
and that's it that leads to
And that's
so
it.
much
Oh
more.
my god.
and that's it. What, yo, man, I wish.
Tyler, I can hear the smirk in your fucking voice right now.
All right, you know what? In other news,
All right, that sounds like
Speaking
it's my
about
cue,
Japan.
and it's time
We
for
got
the Weeb
Japan.
shit. Let's do it big. All right. Oh, all right. No, let's do it small. This first news. sucks.
Whoa,
All right,
one of
so-
these is
dude,
new.
it's-
So, for anyone who's heard of the really small franchise Dragon Ball, to celebrate its
Small indie franchise.
whatever to celebrate its whateverth anniversary, Funimation decided to do what's essentially a Kickstarter, but do it on their website because they want all the money. Is they wanted to fund some special edition Blu-ray boxes of, I think, all of Dragon Ball NZ together. And they were gonna air quotes remaster it. And the second I heard, they're like,
Nice.
"Oh God, not this shit again." The first time Funimation remastered Dragon Ball Z was when they released on the orange box DVD set, the ones that I own, where they just cropped the 4:3 into
Oh, no.
widescreen. So they chopped off the top and they
Oh.
chopped off the bottom. So all those DVDs are in widescreen.
Oh my
Then they decided they wanted to release them on Blu-ray a couple years ago. But when they went to go remaster it, they muddied up the whole thing. They adjusted the colors, and it was also not really in 4:3 either. It was this weird kind of middle ratio.
Oh my God.
So they come back and they say, we're going to truly, really digitally remaster it once again. And they
For
show off
realsies.
pictures of it. And oh my God, first of all, they did the widescreen again. And then second of all, they put this mushy like water filter over everything that got rid of any kind of detail or lines. They made the whole thing just look really mushy. And people start bitching, and Funimation's like, fine, we'll fix it. And they switch it back to 4x3, but they leave the shitty ass filter in place.
My God.
And everyone's still screaming, and Funimation's like, what do you want us to do? We can't fix it now.
You're such a... You literally control this.
They're like, we already promised everyone this is what it would look like before they signed on. We can't change it now.
Oh my.
And it's like, yes, you fucking can. Just refund the money.
Someone
and let people rebuy because you didn't even sell out yet.
Someone needs to like make a petition where we'll give you your money back, but you have to give us the same cost right now, like up front, just to show that people would spend more money on this method.
Point is, they really are just dropping the ball on this. I don't know why the fuck they can't just release the ones that came out in Japan like 2 years ago. Like, they're already there. They're already digitally cleaned up and still look fine, except you have to put fucking watercolor filter over in Photoshop. And that's the only reason I didn't buy this
That's the worst
Blu-ray
part.
collection.
Like, any one of those filters is like just something you slap the fuck on. Like
they're killing the art style of the show by doing that. Like, yeah, they want to clean it up. They don't want the lines to be as visible, but like that's so much of the character of that show. It's disgusting.
Apparently, that's not what the kids want, man.
The kids. This isn't for the kids.
The same for this isn't.
The
This ain't
kids
for
have
the kids.
Dragon Ball Super.
This is for the
and
people with
Boruto.
money.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Anyway.
We all know kids ain't got money.
Anyway, but for an anime that's way more beautiful,
I'm way excited. I did not know this, so
Violet Evergarden movie trailer streamed this weekend. I didn't get a chance to watch it because I was too busy crying about the saddest part of Violet Evergarden being on the front page of Reddit again for no particular
Ooh,
reason.
Yep.
But they confirmed a January 10th, 2020 release in Japan. I don't know what the status of the license is. I think that Netflix is probably going to acquire the movie, given that they have the show already. The movie is going to take place after the last episode of the show. I think at least a year or two after. So it's not like a direct continuation, but it's more of a jump forward.
Ooh.
So don't know what we're going to see. It could be literally anything. It could be literally nothing. But to help bridge the gap to that literally nothing is there's going to be another side story episode in September. Again, no fucking clue if Netflix is picking this up. They're
Movie
gonna
in 2020. Oh my god.
Well, it's not that far away.
Oh
It's
wait,
only,
no,
like,
these are
7
old
months out.
trailers. These are old trailers. Where's the new
Anyway,
trailer? Oh,
but
5
that's really-
days ago. There it is. Okay,
yeah, it was already
okay.
this week. Point is, I guarantee it's going to look just as beautiful as the show did, if not more, given that it's a movie and they have even more. Kyoto Animation never fails.
Look, I spend a noticeable portion of basically every day at work these days when I don't have enough podcasts listening to either Laid Back Camp or Violet Evergarden soundtracks. So, you know,
both great listens.
like, fuck, I'm just still in the mood for this.
I mean, you guys aren't giving up your Netflix account. Anything they add on here, you guys are going to watch from Violet
That's
Evergarden.
extremely accurate. Very true.
But
also,
go ahead.
I was
No,
like,
go ahead. I was in transition.
Did we talk about rising prices on Netflix? We don't have to get too into it. But
Wasn't
they're
it a
going
while
for like
ago?
$15. Yeah, probably.
Wait, when
no,
did they
it was
announce
a-
the price
I
change?
thought this came out a while ago that they were going to do this.
Yeah. No, I did. No, it just came up as a topic at work today, and like 2 of my coworkers canceled like immediately.
Wow.
Like windmill slammed. I'm canceling.
Yeah, I think it
Jeez,
was-
really?
April
Yeah.
3rd, CNN Business posted something about it. I think the idea
No,
was that
God
they
damn it.
looked at the research and said that any price range will cause a third of their viewership to drop. So they're like, okay, fuck it, let's just accept it and raise the prices then.
Yeah.
Well, I did see a headline today. Oh, excuse me. A headline today that said Netflix offers $2 billion in debt to fund for the second time in 7 months to fund original programming.
They've got it. If they sit around and just watch their library shrink, they're not gonna be able to like.
Dude, but can you like?
Justify
I
any of
don't
this.
understand how on
They're
earth.
spending way too much money on their original shit. Like
Well, I was gonna say so much of it is such shit. Like
it's all bad.
Yeah.
everybody knows about like Haunting on Hill House or Stranger Things. Like, wow, great, yes, those are really good shows. But
they're still gonna
man,
become Fox.
there's so much blech. Like you see like I'm gonna go on the app on my phone right now and let's see what Netflix original, because it always put Netflix originals right at top. Wow, okay, it didn't for once. God damn it. Okay, Netflix originals. Here's because they also have the huge icons. Okay,
Yeah.
Roman Empire. Me and Val watched that and it's actually really good. this interactive You versus Wild with Bear Grylls thing. Black Summer, I don't know what that is. Ultraman.
Oh, yeah, Black Summer's
Homecoming
that
by
new zombie
Beyonce.
joint,
Is it
which
really?
is terrible.
There's Umbrella Academy, which I gotta watch.
I like that.
I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson. The Sabrina thing. The Highwaymen. Arrested Development. Oh, it doesn't really. Oh my god. So, Unicorn Store, whatever that is. Dragon Prince. People say it's good. Lunatics. I don't know what that is. Last Kingdom. I don't know. Black Mirror is good. Tiding. There's Santa Claus. I don't know. There's just so much stuff here. There's also so many things, though, that Netflix just seems to buy. It's like they're more successful at buying things than actually making new stuff most of the time.
The problem is everything they buy is only like a temporary ownership thing, whereas anything they make is forever.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Oh, well.
They also do so many of these comedy shows. They go through like waves of doing these comedy shows.
As
Yeah.
someone who does enjoy stand-up specials, though, like no one else has
Yeah.
like the Netflix catalog of stand-up specials.
Who's the woman who people always like who did the 2 awful comedy specials on Netflix?
That one bitch.
Amy Schumer.
Yes.
Yeah, Amy Schumer. Yeah.
That everyone roasted her 2 comedy specials because the second one came out recently.
Jesus.
I still want to see the movie with her, Bill Hader, and LeBron in it, though. I heard that wasn't that bad.
Wait, and LeBron? What?
Yeah, LeBron's in it.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
That's how. Well, look, we got to preview his acting before Space Jam 2 comes
2.
out this summer,
Oh my god.
or it starts filming this summer or something. But that's a thing that's happening.
Dude, if that thing ever comes out, I'll be surprised.
Look, here's the thing. I recently had the chance to rewatch Space Jam 1.
It's dumb.
It does not hold up.
Nope.
It does not stand the test of time in the slightest.
This is not good.
But this is way too much Westerner shit. We need to get back to why we're here. So we're talking about Netflix. We're talking about platforms losing shit. A couple weeks ago, we talked about how Funimation getting back into the streaming game meant that Crunchyroll was just losing on everything. They had no good exclusives this season. Everything went to Funimation, who only recently re-added subtitles to their website.
Oh my.
And also their subtitles are terrible. Like it's when you watch like closed captions on television, it's black bars with white text. That's what Funimation subtitles are right now, and they can't fix it. It's real bad.
Isekai's already on here. I'm gonna watch it after this with Val.
I caught up on a bunch of stuff this weekend, and I'll get to that at the end of the Weeb shit. But starting today, which is now like the second or third week of the anime season, Crunchyroll starts announcing that a bunch of shit that Funimation had exclusive rights to is going to be on their channel. So we announced a couple weeks ago that the first seasons of Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, and Overlord were being taken away. All 3 of those came back over the weekend. Very little announcement. They just kind of reappeared. But in addition to that, throughout the week, Crunchyroll started announcing other shows that are coming onto their spring 2019 lineup. The first of which was the second half of Attack on Titan Season 3, which everyone's like, oh, cool, because you had the first half, even though Funimation really owns the whole thing. But then today alone, they added 3 more. Wise Man's Grandson, which was going to be like the big action bullshit show of the season, which Funimation was hyping up as their
Grandchild Friedman.
What did I say? Grandson?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Only because
Spoiler,
I'm literally
he's a boy.
on Crunchyroll because I just added Isekai Quartet.
Isekai Quartet, which is the big comedy of the season.
It's so dumb.
Just got added this afternoon. And then during the recording, Senko-san, the feel-good, comfy Iyashike healing show about this cute little fox girl, got added as well, which means Funimation is 2 exclusives that are subtitled on their website. But keep in mind, every show that's getting granted to Crunchyroll, Funimation has a simul-dub coming out in a couple weeks that is exclusive to their platform.
Wait, I think they're literally uploading these Isekai episodes right now because I just checked it and it said 1 episode, and then I just clicked back and now there's 3 here.
Yeah, throughout the evening they're catching up. But it's interesting. I don't know if Funimation is going we're going to be exclusive for the first 3 weeks route and then let other platforms license the rights to air the subs.
Get everybody
from us.
addicted for those few weeks.
Because the idea behind it is you pull them into Funimation's website, you get them to see whatever the fuck you want to advertise on the main page, and then after the 3rd week they can go to whatever platform they want. But for 3 weeks, you have the entire internet of weeb's attention.
They got used to coming to Funimation for watching whatever show.
The problem is Funimation is absolutely ass when it comes to subtitles. the only streaming site that's you shouldn't be watching. The only site that's worse than Funimation in this regard is Hulu. I'm watching One Punch Man season 2 on Hulu, and they're not subtitles; they're closed captions, which means the closed captions will show up when they want. If a character starts talking, good luck. 3 seconds later, you're gonna get the closed captions for what they're saying.
So I
And
actually
it's so annoying.
So I told you guys I canceled Hulu 2 weeks ago, and the 20th was the last day I had access to the account before it took it away. I forgot to watch episode 2 of One Punch Man before I lost it. It was out before I lost the account. I lost my paid privileges, and I don't even feel that upset about it.
So I think maybe I'm just not sipping the Kool-Aid, but I saw episode 2 last night. I'm not gonna lie, there were very clear spots where you're like, wow, they cut a lot of corners there. But generally, the fight in episode 2 was not that terrible. And I went into the discussion to see if anyone was going to defend it, and everyone was just ripping the show to pieces. I'm like, no one's even going to acknowledge like the actual like 30-second sequence that was really fucking good. Everyone's going to talk about that one scene of Speed of Sound Sonic spinning, and I think everyone's being way too negative, given that we know this is not going to be season 1. Stop acting like every episode is going to be like
an attack.
Season 1. Like it is. Accept it for what it is and appreciate for what they're putting out. Because I'm going to put it this way: I'm watching JC Staff's last air quotes action series, which was Index season 3, and holy fuck, is One Punch Man way better than that garbage. So they're really going all out for what they are. It's not that good, but they're going all out for what JC Staff is.
Are you saying that they're going plus
ultra? Yeah, they are.
Oh my God.
Damn it.
I'm actually liking the writing. The writing, if anything, is sticking to me so far compared to the art style. But like,
yeah, I'm curious what's gonna happen just because of like the villain they introduced in episode 2 is pretty cool.
Right? Yeah. No. Like, if anything is hooking me, it is that.
Yeah, I definitely want to see what happens.
Oh, I'll find a way to see it when I see the end.
Yo ho, a pirate's life for ye.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. He always manages to sneak into the weeb shit one way or another, but we're going to talk a little bit about Elon Musk.
My God, that's so funny because on Twitter he just tweeted about. Okay, real quick. Tesla's going to develop a quiet electric leaf blower, and then he tweets, and then he replies to himself, "Tesla blows, haha."
Damn.
God damn it.
And his profile picture has been fucking.
Yeah, no, this is what I'm going to talk about. So last Friday, the golden rule of the internet is if someone's Facebook just their profile picture is anime, their opinion doesn't matter. And then Elon went and bucked the trend and just made his profile picture Ed Elric from Fullmetal Alchemist.
It's so dumb.
He can't keep getting away with this. That's all I have to say about this. He can't keep getting away with this.
It's so weird. It keeps showing up in my feed, and I have to go, wait a minute, that's actually Elon Musk.
Wait a minute.
Part of me thinks he's actually insane. The other part makes me think he's just trying to get the SEC to like delegitimize his Twitter account as a source of Tesla-related announcements.
Wait, his description is called Meme Necromancer right now.
Because he just posts dead memes all the time.
What a god, actually.
Dude, we're watching Tony Stark.
Actually.
If Tony Stark appreciated memes, pretty much.
He has 26 million followers on Twitter. Jeez.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I can't say I'm surprised, but wow. How many of them actually know what the Elric brothers are?
The worst part is a bunch of them are investors just looking for cues about what's going to happen to Tesla stock, and they're sitting through him just posting shit like I fuck with ducks or I'm the greatest goat of all time.
That's amazing.
He just tweeted. His last tweets were about the new Model S having an extended range and how you can order it online. And then right before that is the Tesla blows comment.
Tesla blows.
All right.
What a god among men.
All right. Weeb King Elon is doing his own thing. But let's wind down the Weeb shit. I just want to talk real quick. Last week I was sick, so I had a chance to sit down and just watch all the new shit that's airing. I've watched. The actual name is Wise Man's Grandchild, not Old Man's Grandson.
Yes, please remember, because I just said it.
I'm just gonna briefly bitch about why this show is trash. So the opening scene is this dude at his office complaining about how many late hours he works. He walks outside and he's immediately hit by a truck.
Yes. Wait a minute. Oh, what was it?
All right.
Oh, what was it? Freeman, we watched Mother's Basement's video. No, it wasn't about Initial D. the one where he was talking about the spring preview? Wasn't there a shot of someone walking in front of a truck? I feel like I saw a thing recently where someone
I didn't watch the spring preview, so I'm not sure which it was. But there's too many shows where this just happens.
It's getting stupid. Keep going.
So
I'm sorry.
It's way too just like this is too generic. So we cut into the storyline where he gets reincarnated as baby, who was just like his family was attacked by wolves or some shit, and this old man rescues him. It turns out this old man is Merlin. He's the greatest magician of this kingdom.
Oh
so
yeah, Mother's Basement said this was good.
So he raises the kid to do magic. Except this kid is so insanely powerful at magic. Everyone's like, holy fuck, how could he possibly be that strong? So the second episode, they send him to a magic high school where everyone's like, huh, look at this little shit kid. We're going to kick his ass. Oh my God, he's so powerful at magic. None of us can stand up to him.
Oh my God.
And it's like, I understand you're going for that overpowered main character, but we're at the point where we're 2 episodes in and the greatest magic practitioners in universe are like, there's no way this kid is so strong at age 15. Like, I understand. This is a power fantasy. This is your chance to watch the main character never struggle at anything ever.
See, Mother's Basement actually made the sentence because he's like, oh, the kid has no idea, like, how to act socially. So he
claims that, except he does. He fucking rescued some girl in the second episode. Now she's in love with him. But he's just like, they're my classmates. So it's not like he's socially inept. He just has main character syndrome where he just doesn't realize, like, women are advancing on him. Everyone gave it a lot of hype going into. My coworker told me it's like,
you're giving me Shield Hero flashback.
He said it's the best generic isekai ever, and I'm like, I don't know, man. This is like so generic. He's like, yeah, but he's so OP. I'm like, I don't know. You're not selling me on this. That said, I'm gonna watch it because it's well animated, and I want to see what they do. Because there's a very similar show in concept. It was called The Irregular at Magic High School, but that show had a unique twist to why the main character was so powerful. And even though that show is trash, I enjoyed that trash. This one, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this trash because it's just like, pisses me off. In the meantime, moving on to the second one, PA Works had an original show coming out. It's going to be 24 episodes called Fairy Gone. The plot synopsis
from the preview.
The plot synopsis was that this is like a post-war European kind of setting, and some of the soldiers had the ability to summon like
stands.
They're stands. They're ethereal avatars called fairies. But let's be real here. They're just stands. Or if you're playing Smash Bros, they're personas. But they're all done in CG, so they look like trash. The first episode rushed really hard, so I'm not sure what's going on. I'm going to try and watch the next 2. If it doesn't keep my attention by episode 3, I'm actually not going to commit to following through on this one. Even though it's anime original, if you're going to be boring for the first 3 out of 24, like, I don't know if I can trust that. I might come back if, like, by the midpoint we were like, yo, this got hype. I might give it another shot, but I'm not going to watch the first 12 it's airing if it doesn't pick up by 3.
Makes sense.
But on to the most ambitious crossover since Infinity Wars. We have...
Do you mean Endgame?
Well, no, because Endgame's not out yet. So this is the most
ambitious.
And then Endgame will be even more ambitious next week. But Isekai Quartet is the crossover between all of 4 of the biggest, like, transported to a fantasy world shows in the last 5 years. We have Konosuba, RE0, Overlord, and Saga of Tanya the Evil. I'm more in shock that I saw all 4 of these.
I was going to say, okay, Freeman, having watched it, just before you say about quality, how much will me and Val get or not get by only having watched half of these shows?
So it's going to be rough. So very clearly, Konosuba is the, like, carrying the show in episodes 1 and 2. I don't think you're going to enjoy it anywhere near as much unless you, like, watch at least the first 3 of Saga of Tanya the Evil, and then maybe the first, like, 12 of RE0.
So I came and watched it.
That said, all of the shows involved in this crossover are good shows, and I recommend everyone watch all of them, and then top them off by watching, Isekai Quartet.
Oh, Overlord's good,
I've said this before. I don't think Overlord's a bad show. I just didn't like Overlord.
I'm just
show.
bringing the button back.
So all 4 of them,
pretty shitty.
all 4 of them are fantasy world animes done differently than normal.
Tyler, you don't even watch anime.
Yeah, I do. What the fuck? I'm watching Initial D right now.
Hell yeah.
Because of the video?
Yeah, what the hell? Yo,
no,
dude.
he didn't know about it. It's completely unrelated.
I had no idea. No, it wasn't. So what happened was...
I'm going to blast that music after this.
Deja vu.
I saw in Discord that Freeman posted...
Deja vu!
No, I
posted
posted the entire initial
Oh.
D season
Yeah.
1.
Oh,
on
right,
YouTube.
first
Oh.
stage.
I was like, oh, what's this? And I was like, oh, it's the anime. I read the manga back like in the way back
Oh,
when I
wow.
used to be like super into cars. Like I had a car phase, and I liked Fast and the Furious. So I was like, yo, I'm gonna read what's
In-
it called? The Initial D.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, yo, this is dope
Deja
as
vu.
hell. Um, but yeah, so I'm watching that, and I'm still watching Shield Hero every week. So
Oh, hell yeah.
Salt Hero.
yeah.
Gotta watch.
But yeah, Isekai Quartet, very funny. It just makes me want more Konosuba, not gonna lie. But then real quick to close out the week, the last on this list is for anyone who watched shoujo anime in the early 2000s, Fruit Basket was a big part of your anime library, and they decided that for the 20th anniversary, they're going to go and give it the Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood treatment and redo the anime, new staff, new voice, new everything, and do it over with the actual manga plotline from start to finish. That started 2 weeks ago. I saw the first episode. As someone who hasn't seen the original, it was pretty good. I saw some screenshot comparisons to the original, and oh boy, the original is kind of showing its age. The new one looks like they pulled out all the stops to make everything look really pretty. I want to ask Leslie's opinion because I know she saw the original Fruits Basket.
Yeah.
About whether it holds up. It seems like it's not that different. Like the plot line for the first episode is identical, but they just cleaned up all the animation. It sounds like Funimation is doing a simul dub of it. I don't know if they're getting the original dub cast back, but they are going to have, a dub coming out. So for anyone
Apparently, she also really loves this new Fruits Basket a lot.
wait, she watched the new one?
Yeah, she was watching it today,
I gotta
Whoa.
ask her tomorrow during D&D.
along with Goblin Slayer.
Because it's
What?
wait, what?
Yeah, she just
Those-
texted me like 5 minutes ago.
Those
saying
are very different shows.
that.
those
She
are-
was like, "Man, Goblin Slayer went downhill pretty fast." I was like, "Wait, what?"
Wait, downhill like depressing
you
but
know,
good, or
like downhill,
Oh, I
like-
thought you meant like it got like after the
depressing.
first episode, it got like way too like.
Oh no!
Yeah, I was gonna
happy
say, like, I
friendship,
could-
let's go fight the goblins.
I could easily
No.
see it be like Leslie being like, "Oh wait, nah, now I don't know anymore."
Actually, I don't know. I can find.
Did you
out.
clarify with her that the first episode's the only one that's like truly creepy?
Truly
Truly creepy. That's the.
There's like maybe one other slightly creepy scene in the show, but like episode 1 is by far the worst. Not the worst, the most graphic part of Goblin Slayer.
True.
Like
Once you
everything
get
else is
over
child's
that,
play in
once you get
comparison.
over that, that hill, that slight bump, I mean, it's
Slight-
smooth sailing.
Once
from
you
there.
get once you get over Mount Everest, the rest of the mountain range is just smooth sailing.
Oh, fuck! All right, let's.
All right,
Yeah.
but that's it for the weeb shit.
Now, where are my waifus?
All right,
So-
let's take a short break for our sponsors, and when we get back, we'll actually do a topic for once.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
And we're back. It's a podcast again.
Oh man, we're actually topicking for once, right?
We're actually
Yeah, for
topicing,
once.
and I'm
For
taking the
once.
back seat. I'm letting you both share the wheel on this one because it's
All right.
time to talk about, and then let's all watch the quotations appear in the sky right now. But fan service.
Fan service.
So I want to give some very minor backstory into why I even brought this as a topic to you guys. So Luigi recommended a show to me called How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. And it seemed like an action show. And then I saw episode 1, and not 30 seconds in, 2 characters with ginormous boobs started swaying in the wind. And then by the 3rd episode, there's this very dramatic chase sequence. And I'm watching, like, it's getting really exciting. I wonder if they're going to, like, catch up to this bandit. When all of a sudden, the character wearing a skirt goes flying up, and no one acknowledges what's going on. It's just like, why am I staring at panties right now? Why? What is the point of this fan service? And that was when I was like, you know what? I should ask the guys. When is fan service good? When is it bad? Why the fuck is this even happening? And that's going to be our topic. We've been hinting at it since the episode 69 special, but tonight is the night we talk about. And Tyler, this is where you come in with the title.
Big T. No.
Yeah, big anime titties. What we've been
Yeah.
alluding to.
Alluding to the lewds. Yeah, man. But like, no, as
When is it too
As
much?
funny as it
It's
is-
always too much. This is a good
It's
Christian
all-
household.
This is my Christian home, my Christian podcast.
Don't bring this shit, this devil
Don't
shit here.
bring it.
Keep this
Don't
stuff in the
bring-
weeb shit, not in the topic.
Yeah, no, just terrible. After Easter of all
Oh
sacred
my
days.
God.
Did you
Jesus
see
didn't come back for
you
this.
see the office parkour meme of the United States going from Good Friday into 420 into
420
Easter all in the same
parkour.
weekend?
To weave
I
shit.
actually did.
That's parkour. That's
Yeah,
true
here we go.
parkour. But yeah, you know what though? That's the thing. I've always been thinking about stuff like that too. My first anime that I saw, right, that I really gave any thought to it was this is back when I watched stuff like when it came out, like when I was on I
Oh
would say
boy.
your level, Freeman. I watched
Oh, you were watching
On
like
your
the
level.
airing in Japan level shows.
like actually like I was on that shit for a while. This anime Freezing.
Oh boy, Freezing's
have-
a. I
Yeah.
haven't watched it, but I know of it.
Freeman
Well, so-
immediately. Oh.
Actually, you
Yeah,
know what?
I know this
If
one.
anything, I would say it was the Darling in the Franks before Darling in the Franks. Now that I
No,
think
it
about it.
didn't reach that level.
Oh no, it did though. So, but that was the premise. It's about what's it called? Male and a female student.
Oh, you mean in
And-
terms of like the plot line, not in
Like
terms of
plot.
Like, the
Yeah, I'm
sentence?
talking about
Oh,
plot.
okay, I thought you meant in terms of like the buzz surrounding it.
No. Yeah, which I'm surprised considering, like literally every single fight the girls got into, their shirts would rip open and you would
Close
see
your
their tits.
Wait,
Like,
hold on. So describe
every
the synopsis real quick, because I think this might be the same synopsis to another show I was going to talk about tonight.
Oh, really? Jeez, there's so
Go
many.
ahead.
All right. Yeah, so basically, kind of like Darling in the Franxx, which I'm just saying for pretext for our listeners. This combat fighting school
Oh yeah.
where males and females they team up, and males their basically their essential function is to like what shit, I'm kind of forgetting, to like enhance their female partners like combat capabilities. So essentially the better that they sync up and they know each other, the better in combat that they are, like effectively.
Jesus Christ, this is the same plot as Sekirei.
Oh,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
that's right.
That was the show I was going to talk
Oh
about.
shit.
Where by the end of every fight, fucking Musabi's shirt has been ripped off, and she has to fight one-handed because she's covering her nipples with her other hand.
Right, but like that but that's the thing though, right? Like that's when I first thought, I'm like, well, what does this have to do with the plot? Like
The
what
icing on
does
the
this
cake was
have to do?
My friend watched that when we were like beginning of college, and then when he finally showed it to me, it was like last year. And we're watching, and I'm like, why did you enjoy the show? He's like, because the fights are really good. And we're watching it. I'm like, are you sure you watched this for the fights?
You sure you watched this for the fight? All right, I'm not gonna lie. I thought the fight, like the premise, I thought at the time, if I were to watch it again, I'm not entirely sure, but if I remember correct how I felt. I was like, the fights are actually kind of decent. Like I'm not watching it because I'm like, hey, titties, but like, you know, like I was like, oh, and like the premise is kind of interesting, but I distinctly remember I was like, this seems very excessive because none of their other parts of their clothing was taken off, only around the chest area, and like nothing else would ever get ripped. It's very strange.
I mean, there was a very clear reason.
I mean, there was a clear reason, but I'm just like, come on, man, come on, come on.
So when I was coming up with notes to talk about today, I was able to classify most anime fan service into two categories. The first one, I called it contained to the beach episode. This is shows where, generally speaking, fan service isn't a normal thing. And when they announce this week we're going to the beach, you know that this is the one and only episode where it's just gonna be fan service city for the episode.
Yeah.
Then the other category is called "Why am I looking at panties right now?" which was born out of that description I just gave you guys about how not to summon a demon lord.
Mhm.
But one show that wait, Tyler, have you seen Gurren Lagann?
Of course.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
good. I couldn't remember.
Yes.
I think it's Luigi's the only one who hasn't. But a great example of this is I struggle to get people into Gurren Lagann for one reason, and it's Yoko. So in the first episode of Gurren Lagann, there's a scene where they're running away from the gunmen, and they're moving through this very narrow, like chasm. And during that shot, Yoko's how do I want to say this without sounding just like so her boobs are pressed up against the crevice as they're sliding through is the most elegant way I can put this. And that scene has turned so many people off of Gurren Lagann. I will now watch people during the scene to see if I can see them turning from like okay to just like disgust. And it's shocking the number of people that just like this fan service that's so out of place kills the enjoyment of what's supposed to be going on. Whereas if you go and you watch the Hot Springs episode of Gurren Lagann, like episode 7, all the fan service is very in context. It's they are at a hot spring.
Mhm.
You can fast forward through the episode. If you don't want to watch it, you don't have to, because it's all pretty contained. But having this random out of place fan service is very it's for the most part it's off-putting to people.
Yeah.
Like it's why is this here? Why did you want to show this to me?
It seems excessive. It seems out of place. And it's like, does this serve any point to the story? Or is it just to get my blood pressure up?
And that's the thing. So you have shows like Sekirei or Freezing or High School of the Dead, where the show goes in with the full idea of like, there's just gonna be fan service at any given time because that's our gimmick. That's what we want to do. Just have it out there all the time. That's our show's theme. And that's fine. You can have shows that are like that. You can have shows that aren't like that. Ones that are about the plot, like Shield Hero or Steins Gate or Fullmetal Alchemist or any of these. But the problem happens when shows decide.
Excuse me, I'd like to say that Fullmetal Alchemist has a fan service. Major Armstrong.
You know what? I apologize. I'm not considering our 3.2 female listener.
Yeah, you know, shit,
no,
man.
Just admiring those Armstrong genes for generations. Anyway, point is, you can have shows that don't have fan service, but then you have stuff like let me try and get a good example of this. All right, everyone seems to love. No. Prison School falls into the we're a fan service show. But I'm trying to get a good example. Like, all right, take Elfen Lied, for example. This is a show that a lot of late '90s, early 2000s weebs love because it's one of those weird, edgy, bloody shows.
It's weird.
And the show opens this sequence where this girl's like being tied up for some science experiment and she goes free. And it's basically imagine the opening to the Pokemon movie where Mewtwo goes like crazy in the lab. It's like that, except it's this naked anime girl with this like helmet,
and she's got like was it bipolar? Well, not bipolar.
She has pretty much bipolar disorder.
Multiple personalities. Yeah.
The point is like the nudity in the opening scene is not sexual at all. Now, the next 3 episodes after that, it's just random ass panty shots all the fucking time, and it completely kills what you're trying to say about your show. You're throwing fan service into a show that's not trying to be fan servicey. And it's creating this illusion that all anime is like this.
And it's a show that contains very serious subject matter too.
It does, and they delegitimize a lot of it by deciding to just like point the camera up anyone's skirts whenever possible.
Oh man.
So on the topic of anime, the why am I looking at panties right now is this shouldn't be here. It doesn't need to be here. Unless you have like a real reason to show me them, stop it. And one of the big things the anime community was excited about last season was when Kaguya-sama Love is Working Out. Episode 3 had this extended dance sequence in the ending. And there were a couple shots where I think the girl was dancing, her skirt kind of like blew around, but at no point did it ever compromise anything. At no point did the dance become anything more than just a dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone was like, we're proud of that. You didn't need to show us anything, and no one wanted to see anything there, so you didn't. That's good. A lot of earlier shows, they don't. Any chance they can, they will for absolutely no reason other than just that, get the fans titillated.
Yeah. With titties. Yeah. Yeah, just gotta throw that in there,
God. And anime has a hard time drawing the line. I'm not gonna lie.
No way. Who could have predicted?
What line? There is no line, Freeman. It's like the Wild East. It's not even like
the Wild East.
But I was gonna bring it. I was gonna bring it back home west, because we didn't talk about Game of Thrones during the news section because I don't think we are gonna do a weekly one. But Game of Thrones is a perfect example of non-anime. Do you need sexual content? And I'm full disclosure. Every time an episode starts, I double check that warning at the beginning of the episode to see if there's gonna be nudity this week. I always do. It's always better when there is. Not gonna lie. But point is,
But
Yeah.
there are scenes that I've heard people argue both for and against that are completely unnecessary and kill the seriousness of Game of Thrones. My dad claims he won't watch it because he's just like, there's naked women all the time. I don't get why they have to show them.
blip.
And my dad's a little old fashioned. But point is, I'll bring up a great example someone told me they didn't like, and I actually don't agree with them. In the very first episode of Game of Thrones, when you meet Daenerys, do you know what her opening scene is?
Her naked for the bath.
Yeah. Wait,
Oh, was it the bath?
shit.
I thought her opening scene is she gets married and then she immediately
Gets
No, it's because
Just
the
like
bath.
destroyed. Yeah.
bent over by Khal Drogo.
No, because she's got a. They talk about her getting ready, and there's
Yeah,
a whole
they talk
bath
about
thing.
her getting. Yeah.
Okay, so her second scene. Point is,
It's
a
up
lot of
there
people
though. It's
told
up
me-
there.
A lot of people told me that scene doesn't need to be there.
Wait,
And a
which
lot-
one? Wait, which scene?
The
bath scene
immediately
or
having
her-
sex after the wedding.
But that's very important.
Yeah.
It is very
That's
important.
a very important scene.
So
As oddly as that sounds, maybe to our female listeners, it's a very important
Well-
scene for her character.
So I think it's important that they show kind of like her position. So for anyone who doesn't know about Daenerys' storyline in Game of Thrones, she's basically sold off to this like tribe of how do you describe it? Like essentially these
That
like
warrior-
these warrior
They're like
these warrior
Mongols.
people.
The
Yeah, they're like
warrior
Mongols.
tribe, yeah.
And she's sold off because her family's basically just been eradicated, and she needs a way to get back into power. So she
Well, no, her
marries into
brother.
this-
Her brother wants to use
wants
her
back in power.
to get an army.
So he marries her off into this tribe of warrior Mongols. And the first episode is really meant to show her that she's kind of powerless. She's forced into a marriage she didn't necessarily want to be into. And how do I put this? It was a defining moment for her early arc that shows that she's not happy with what's going on. This is the life that is thrown onto her. But by the third or fourth episode, she starts learning how to
Accept
the dominant-
her role.
well,
Yeah.
like not just accept her role, but like take ownership of her role and be powerful in the position she's in. And that
Right.
also includes becoming like the sexually dominant person in the relationship.
Mhm.
Like I thought that was a really strong episode for her,
The parallels.
where she's just like,
Solid writing.
where she's just like, yeah, that's it. So the idea is that scene, despite being graphic and as some would say titillating, it was important for the plot progression.
Right.
And a lot of the stuff we talk about, big ass anime titties, a lot of them are not important to the plot progression in the slightest. You can remove those and it doesn't matter. Another good example is I'm going to talk about my boy Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm going to pull out two movies of his.
Ooh.
One, Titanic, the ever famous "Paint Me Like One of Your French Girls" scenes.
Yep.
Did the nipple need to be out? No,
Yes. Wait. I
But-
mean, no.
but when it was out, it made the scene a lot more intimate, and I'd say that played to its advantage. Now, flash forward like 15 years, and Wolf of Wall Street comes out, and that movie was like maybe an hour longer than it needed. I think for anyone who hasn't watched Wolf of Wall Street,
I
it's the
keep
story
meaning
of,
to, but I never did.
of this guy who he starts off on the stock market, and his first week is, I forget what the term for it was, but it was just this week where the market crashed in the 80s. So he basically gets kicked out. He starts selling off penny stocks, which are like junk stocks, and he starts making a shit ton of money selling shit stocks. To the point where he starts opening his own big firm that's basically just a giant scam. It's a story of how he just kept scamming his way up the ladder. And halfway through, he just stops giving a shit about like professionalism. He just starts, calling in hookers to the office, doing blow off his desk. It's just a big drug circle. It was a lot of. I don't recommend this movie for the faint of heart. There was a lot of shit going on in this movie.
It's a Scorsese movie. If that gives any sort of
Yeah, that should help describe
Preface.
what we're getting at here. But in terms of the plot line, halfway through the movie, he like starts to come clean, and then he's like, "Fuck it, bring it all back." And there's this extended sequence of him and his boys just like partying in a strip club before they try and get on a plane, and it's just, it was the question of, did I need to see this? And the movie did a great job in the first hour of showing you like this overly lavish sexual lifestyle he was living. And then they just like kept showing you over and over again to drill in that like, hey, look what's going on. And it drew a lot of criticism because at first it was fine. It really painted a good picture of what was going on at, what was it, Stratton Oakmont, whatever the firm he was running was. But like after an hour and a half, it's like, do I still need to see this? Do I really want to see this?
Don't think
it's
so.
It's the
Well,
same kind of thing
overall-
when I get the second boob jiggle in a given episode of an anime. It was literally the exact same feeling. But I got to watch all my friends who don't watch anime express that feeling.
Yeah, and I would say that also kind of plays into the rest of like you see those themes that have excessive, you know, everything, because that's what the biggest problem, at least for me, was, and I know a lot of my other friends before Wolf of Wall Street. The movie was just excessive. It kept going on and
Yeah,
on
it was a little
and
long.
on. Yeah, like
That's what
especially
I love the movie. It's a good movie, but it's just like they could cut an hour out of it and no one would miss it.
actually.
Yeah, man, I've wanted to watch it ever since it came out, but yeah, I just never got
It's
around to it, and I
it's
know that
still good. I would still, if you like Scorsese movies,
yeah.
I would recommend it. Gotta get the lewds.
Not
Want
a different type of lewds.
different kind of lewds. Different
But
lewds.
real quick, so it was the week that I went down to company headquarters to pitch our idea. The two business guys who were in my team, we were watching Wolf of Wall Street the day after we presented to this to like the C-suite for our company idea, and the entire time we're watching, the two of them are laughing at each other like, "This is what our office is going to be like."
Oh
And I'm
my
sitting there like,
god.
"Oh God, are they really trying to make this?" Thank God they were both fucking
Uh.
me the whole time because they knew I would believe them.
Damn. Was it what was I saying? There was something. Oh, what do you think though? Right? Because there are other things that have fan service, like kind of what we're talking about, but like it plays in with the theme, the entire theme. I'm talking about Kill a Kill. Going back to Studio Trigger for a second.
So I love talking about Kill la Kill.
Right,
So,
it's an interesting topic.
Man.
so,
It's an interesting show.
so
Wait,
first
Tim,
of all,
have you
Tim,
seen it?
No,
I recommend
I've
watching
never
Kill la
seen
Kill. It's
Kill a
really good.
Kill.
I don't want to spoil it though.
Just keep going. It's fine. I'll forget. Don't even pretend. I'll probably
It's
forget.
one of those shows, like, I didn't believe it when I first saw it. The best description I ever had was when I told my buddy who recommended it to me, I was like, bro, this bitch is taking off her fucking clothes in the first fucking, like, what is this? And he's like, no, just keep watching though. I'm like, you know I hate that. Like, this has been a rule of mine since day one. You guys know this. No, it's gonna make sense. Don't worry. And I'm like, and lo and behold, it did.
I believe it.
I
So
didn't. Yeah.
my Kill la Kill story is a little similar. It was at the time I was watching a lot of shows at the same time as all my college friends on our. We weren't even on Discord. It was TeamSpeak at the time, and we watched like all of Titan together. We watched all of something else. But point is, Kill la Kill comes around. All I know is this is the first original production by the group that formerly did Gurren Lagann. And I'm like, guys, come on, we got to watch it. So we all watch episode 1 together. And everyone's just like, Andrew, what the fuck was that? And I'm like, I don't know. I really have no clue what this is. Like,
No clue.
they kept it really under wraps. Like, they didn't do any real promotion outside of like the scissor and some like red lines. So I didn't know how to explain it. And everyone kind of dropped it by the third episode. And I'm sitting there chuckling, like, God, if it's just me every week of just beat the villain of the week, I don't know if I can watch this. And episode 4 rolls in. And episode 4 opens with her waking up in the teacher's room. And he gradually reveals he's part of a counter-terrorist organization known as the Nudist Beach. And once that nudist beach sequence happened, I sat there. I'm like, oh my God, I need to keep watching this. And that episode got me to continue because I realized, maybe there's something else going on. And I'm glad I did, because once you get past the outfit, the plot of this show is insane. I love Gurren Lagann. Or no, Gurren Lagann, sorry. I love Kill la Kill.
I like
Both statements are
both.
true. But let's be real here. They went into the show saying, how do we make the main character half naked and have it make sense? And their explanation is spot on of how it could in theory work. That said, once you get beyond the realm of everyone's naked in this show, it was a really good story. So remember, I didn't really notice that anyone was like dressed retardedly after the 4th episode or so.
Yeah, because you realize, right, like it plays to the theme, like that is what was going on, was the point of the entire story.
Also, once you get to like I think episode 4 or 5 has Ryuko kind of dealing with the fact that like, I shouldn't be ashamed of how I look, I should be proud. And once that moment happens, no one for the rest of the show like mentions anything about like from that point on, being nude is like a normal thing for most of the cast of the show. Like, it's not even a sexual thing.
Huh.
It's almost like the viewer gets over it, or the show gets over it.
Right around the
along
time
with
the viewer does.
Yeah.
It was an interesting take on it, but like much like Gurren, it's hard to people into Kill la Kill because all they see is that outfit in episode 1 and go,
Right.
okay, what is this? But it's
Right.
not about that. Like they'll have one scene. Like there was one, I think it's episode like 14 or 15, where Ryuko's dangling off the ledge, and her uniform has what's essentially suspenders on them, and she pulls on the suspenders for a second to get up, and then she like slaps them back into place. And it was a really out of character scene, and it was almost funny at that point. Like it wasn't a fan service sexual moment. It's weird because in any other situation it would be. But I think Kill la Kill's a good idea of this. One I wanted to bring up, and this kind of jumps into the video game space, is
Dead or Alive. Extreme
well,
Beach
I
Volleyball
put
Team.
Dead or Alive in here. I was going to talk about how Dead or Alive, Senran Kagura, and then like
Leisure Suit Larry.
Honey Pop. These games are not.
Oh, we going that far.
These games are not meant to be seen as anything but here is eye candy, and I don't want to lump them in with this because like these they have an explicit purpose.
Yeah, that's
Those
definitely
are
a fair
specifically
distinction.
meant.
They are specifically meant to be only eye candy, and there is no other. You know, Dead or Alive community, please forgive me, but there's meant to be no other like redeemable value outside of the fan service. No one plays Dead or Alive beach volleyball for the gameplay mechanics.
No one.
And if you do, I apologize, but
And if
No,
you
there's
do,
probably
I
a
don't
few-
believe
you
you.
really play this game for the wrong reasons.
Even if there are people who
Absolutely
do,
not.
they got into it for some
No.
other reason.
They're a fucking liar. Even if they don't, no, I was before, but yo, it's a legitimately good sports game. No, I don't believe you. I don't.
But anyway, I want to talk about a very similar boss fight that happened in two very different games, and both these plagued me while I was in college. So the first one is I played Bayonetta on PS3. Bayonetta is not, how do I put it? It dabbles in the fan service space.
Dabbles, huh? Doesn't you know, the whole fact that her clothes are hair doesn't raise any flags.
Like it's weird, but I want to stress she never reveals more skin than a one-piece swimsuit.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna put that out there.
I'm following you.
The point is, in Bayonetta, they, you know, she's always doing poses and whatnot, and you know the game has sexual overtones to it. One of the boss fights involves this angel. Jesus Christ! I can't believe we're recording this and putting this on YouTube. This angel spreads her legs.
Wasn't an angel for you. Man.
Her hand is like kind of down there,
Oh boy.
and she makes some exciting noises, and then the boss fight starts.
Nice.
And I remember playing through this, and it didn't seem out of place in that game. Now, I went and played Persona 3 later that year, and that same type of boss shows up during, I guess, the first third of the game. But Persona 3 is not a sexual game in the slightest. And it made that entire boss fight so fucking weird.
Oh no.
Like, I really want to stress, context matters. Making sure it's not a jarring swap matters. With Kill la Kill, once you establish it as the norm, no one cares anymore. When it happened in Persona 3, I had to turn off the game because I was playing it in the living room. Like,
Yo, that feel though, when you're playing the massage scene from 10-2, and your parents are in the next room, and you're like, oh fuck. I don't care if I gotta restart this section again.
Do I actually play 10-2?
No, you don't.
But Tyler.
No. It's got excessive fan service.
What do you think we're talking about today?
Yeah, that's kind of the point, isn't
All right,
it?
so that it did kind of bother me, right? I was even like when I was younger, right? Like when that game came out, I was kind of interested because I was like, oh well, this is kind of a weird game to like play after 10. It's a lot different mood. I'm like, you know what? I'm down to try out like a female protagonist. Why not? And the whole thing just felt weird. I'm like, why am I dressing up these girls? Like, is this what like? Come to find out later on, that's what dudes like to do. Like weird Japanese dudes like to do.
Apparently, they loved it so much they made a sequel called Lightning Returns.
Yeah, I know. And like, I felt like it was kind of weird, and I felt like it was honestly kind of out of place. I mean, granted, the sphere, the dress spheres were kind of cool. Like the concept of like people getting new moves. It's almost like I feel like it was kind of like the pilot of the paradigm shift in 13. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
now that I think about it.
Kind of, yeah. It was like the whole class swap in the middle of combat
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, exactly. But even then, I felt like that was gratuitous, especially like during certain parts of the game, like the massage scene. Like that's an infamous scene that you even know about.
I only vaguely remember from watching the Spoonie reviews with Tim several years.
Yeah.
But like
So
it's
long
so
ago.
true. It felt and like for a Final Fantasy game, it felt so. The game felt so out
All
of
right, let's
place.
rewatch someone's Let's Play of the massage scene real.
Oh my
Yeah, right.
god. I've never
Oh,
even
boy.
seen any of this stuff.
It's
So I don't have any.
it's
oh.
weird. Well, like so, Freeman, you played 10, right?
Yeah, I'm roughly halfway through it right now.
Oh, okay. Oh wait, like for the first time, like ever?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I was
I didn't know.
when I was out sick the other day, I spent half the day sleeping to get better, and the other half saying, let's grind out Final Fantasy X from my
Oh,
bed.
shit.
So I'm up to.
I didn't know.
All right, listeners, spoiler for FFX. So we just flew the airship to go rescue Yuna, and then
Mhm.
Kimara's like, I'm gonna hold back Seymour, even though the whole like Council of Maesters is totally out to get us, and we're about to run back and fight Seymour legit.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Have fun. That's all I gotta
dude,
tell you.
Seymour kicked my ass the last time. Like I got through most of
Yeah,
this fight,
and guess
then
what?
he just
He's
one
gonna
shot my whole fucking team.
he's gonna kick your ass literally like throughout the entire
God,
game.
fuck Seymour. I hate Seymour so much.
Seymour is a
His
bad
fucking
dude.
hair, his hairy chest, his weird voice, like everything about him just creeps me out.
What do you mean? That was the female fan service, dude. He's got that like
The Guado was the female fan service.
yeah, dude. He's got the hairy chest.
The
and
most
shit.
physically impossible hair on his head possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does
Well,
he get
he's
more?
Well, he's the Final Fantasy's version of like the boss who isn't the actual final boss.
Isn't like Jekt supposed to be the final boss or something?
Jekt is
No.
sin.
Don't spoil it for me. Well,
I'm
we
not-
already
I'm
know.
not
We know
spoiling.
that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, that's a no. Actually, a no.
Interesting. All right, cool.
Oh.
Don't tell me. I want to
Yeah.
find out.
I don't know then. I thought I was spoiling it. Whoops. I didn't mean to, but
no.
Oh, you piece of shit.
no, I
Oh,
said
you
it before
piece of
Tyler.
shit.
Before you said don't spoil, I was saying it already.
Yeah, no.
But
it's
I don't
fine.
remember. Like you
But
said,
that-
Freeman. I watched Spoonie's video years ago. That's about it.
But that game, like going back on track though, that game, as well as the other Final Fantasy games, they weren't big on. Like there were some in 10, like you could say like Lulu is. She's the big titty goth girlfriend everybody wants, but
Dude, her victory scene is just her like bending over for the camera.
yeah,
They knew what they were doing with that game.
They knew, but I'm just like shit. Like it's like I even kind of disregard. I'm like whatever, man. Like that's fine. But then it just goes full blown girl power. Everybody's half naked all the time. And I'm just like, but why? Why? And like, I found myself like halfway through the game, like, why am I playing this? Like, I'm not even getting like actual enjoyment, like objectively any enjoyment out of this. Like, I feel like all I'm doing is fighting, monsters like as scantily clad females.
So what I think is interesting is we've gone from the same company that's done X2 and Lightning Returns, and now they're struggling to do the 7 remake because they're not sure how they want to handle the Cloud cross-dressing scene in 7.
No, it has to happen. It has to. They can't cut shit from that. That was perfect. I love that.
I know, it's a
but-
very fun part of the game.
It's it is a journey, and on top of
A
that
journey.
too, it like honestly, like how many things? Because I was actually bringing this up, like we're like segueing slightly over to like games a little bit, but like how many times, like especially nowadays, where do you get like out of combat like game scenarios, especially in RPGs, like, and especially for the time, I thought it was ahead of its time, where it's like not only did it like the subject matter of like, yo, a dude cross-dressing as a woman to like do a thing, but like it was also like how well you did it too. Like you could half-ass it and get like the wig or whatever and get the dress and like you just go in, right? But like if you went the extra mile, you had what's his face like, yo, I want you. And I'm like, oh shit. You don't get a lot of that stuff. You don't get a lot of that even today.
You don't. The only problem is they've gone from like blocky PS1 graphics to they have to kind of show this scene in very realistic CG. And if I'm remembering correctly, doesn't the Don kind of throw himself at you in that scene?
He does.
I don't
And you know,
see that
there's
might
that.
be tricky to do in realistic CG.
Nah, man. It's fine. I'm not gonna be offended. I don't give a shit if other people are offended. They better do it right. What's the other thing too? The part that disturbed me a little bit more than that was that this is like a teen rated game, like maybe, geared towards more like 15, 16-year-olds. But you go into like this it's almost like a strip club or like a burlesque house. And at one point, like it's like you have to kind of look for it, but you find out that like behind every mirror in the place is a video camera.
Oh, jeez.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Wow.
I'm like, this is implying some fucked up shit.
So real quick, just because we're talking about this place, Tyler, when we were playing your D&D campaign last year, in the like one of the last sessions when we went to that, like, I guess it was a brothel. I was legit picturing that scene from Final Fantasy VII, like the entire like area outside the Don's Club.
Oh yeah.
That's how I pictured it in my head.
I ain't gonna lie, I kind of got some of my inspiration from stuff like that.
Well, I had to hold back from just saying Final Fantasy VII every time you described like the plates.
I was
It wasn't
pissed.
bad though. I liked it.
Because like when you said it and we said like, man, this is kind of like Final Fantasy, and I'm like, like the entire like of my campaign flashed before my eyes. I was like, wait a second. Wait a second
The
now.
thing is, if I wasn't there, I don't think anyone else in the group has played Final Fantasy VII, so it would have been a completely original storyline to everyone.
Yeah, but it's fucked up because I didn't even think about it. And this isn't the first time I did something like this either. Right? Like I wrote a character in like character writing class in college, and someone pointed out who knew me like pretty well at the time. It's like, hey, isn't this just Sam Winchester? And I'm like, wait, how the fuck? Like just with a different profession. I'm like, I didn't think about this. I am not original. Like, oh no. Yeah, that's some fan service right there. I'm not even gay.
Anyway,
Tim's like, what?
No comment.
No comment. No comment can be reached at this time.
Error.
I think there are some times though. I'm thinking of it because because we were talking about like putting down points and everything. I put down some. It's more like 1 pro than anything, but I was thinking of like in some shows, it can be used as, depending on like the context, can be kind of used as like a what's it called? Kind of like a supplemental piece to like how the main character could be experiencing at the time. Like how to explain, like I thought about it when I was watching Initial D, right? And like the character, like the main character, because to set this up, the Freeman knows. Tim, are you gonna watch Initial D at all?
I mean, Freeman and you both speak highly of it. It's just so
I would not speak highly of this
There's
anime.
so much to do.
I'm gonna warn you, season 1's a little rough.
It's dated. It's dated as fuck.
See, I made the mistake to start replaying 2 old video games in the last 72 hours. So like
Which games?
I'll get into it more in the weeks, but
Okay.
Yesterday I decided to reinstall Oblivion for the 20th time ever and mod it up.
Yeah, I saw
Mod it
that.
very yeah, Tyler messaged me about it on Steam. He's like, "What the Oblivion?" But on Sunday, Val was wanting to watch Lord of the Rings, and I was like, "I have a better idea." So I went downstairs,
Oh my god.
hooked up my 360, found my copy of Lord of the Rings: The Third Age, and started playing that in front of him.
Damn.
I'm like, this is Lord of the Rings. This is fun new Lord of the Rings instead of the same old movies.
Well, anyway, damn. Well, there's a scene. I wouldn't say it's so much fan service, honestly, but I'm just using it as an example, and I won't give away too much. But like, a character is going out with like another female character.
Oh, I thought you were saying characters going real fast.
They're going real fast. I mean, that's what happens too in the show.
It's
People
either
go
they're going
fast,
fast or they're talking to girls. That's the two
or
things that happen in this show.
they're talking to girls, and like there are times where like they cut to like a shot of like the ass or whatever, and they're like, oh, but like they're awkward like high school kids talking about dumb high school shit, and I'm like, yo, this is high school. This makes sense. And like then they're going off to talk about their part-time job. I'm like, okay, I can kind of see how this kind of fits in.
Oh, dude, I'm kind of the opposite. So when I was talking about my "why am I looking at panties right now" type fan service, everything involving Natsuki is kind of that. Like I think in the first episode, she walks up to Takumi. She's like, "What are you doing this weekend?" Then he immediately looks down, and then you're like dangerously close,
Yeah.
looking up her skirt for a shot. I'm like, please, just like I didn't need that. Like,
Damn.
and
That's
I understand your
fair.
point that it's kind of showing like the awkward sexual tension of his relationship with her, but at the same time, why am I looking at panties right now?
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with you, and at the same time, I'm like, this is a light defense. I'm like, it's more of like me, like, hey, you can
It's-
do it, man.
It's
like
a somewhat
rooting from the-
justification. I'll give you that much.
Yeah, like it's because I'm thinking, like, okay, like it, especially from the character of Takumi's, like, he's this awkward, shy kid who like doesn't have much experience with anything. I would even go as far as to say this motherfucker has Asperger's, because like all he does is drive, and everybody's like, "Yo, what?" So like, what do you think, Tack? Like, you want to go up to the mountain? Not really.
Well,
And
hold
that's
up.
it.
But like, imagine if your dad woke you up every day at 4 a.m. to go do that. You're like,
Oh, I
fuck,
know.
I want to go do that for fun.
Yeah, no, but like it's every conversation he has, and that probably also plays into like why he responds the way he does, because the motherfucker's up at 4 a.m. in the morning every day delivering freaking tofu.
For real.
But I don't know. I feel like it was half like supposed to be like but the other half is like at least it somewhat has a place. Unlike what's another good? Oh yeah, you guys have seen the Broly movie.
Oh yeah.
I still haven't watched it yet.
Oh, God
Oh, Friedman.
Damn it!
Every
dude,
time I
what
try to
the
get my other friend group
fuck?
to like, no, let's do it another time. I should just watch
Bro,
it.
it was on Pornhub
And I downloaded it.
for free. Yeah, so that's
And
what
I
I'm
downloaded it.
gotta
Talk about fan
watch it.
service.
Yeah, the ultimate. But in that movie specifically, like there's nothing sexual going on at all. There's one character and she's sticking her ass out, like while having a casual conversation. And you're just like going back to your original point. But why though?
Yeah, why am I looking at
Why?
this?
Why am I looking at this?
Why am I looking at this?
Like it's literally like nothing of like sexual value is happening here. Why am I getting this? I don't know. It's what's another thing? That's pretty much covers my
Yeah, I think I wrapped up pretty much everything.
my
What did I leave?
somewhat pros of it, of how it can be conducive to the story, but we kind of like covered my cons of oversaturation is not good, especially without context.
So I had one last example I threw under games I thought was pretty nice. It was how Mass Effect handled sex scenes,
Mhm.
where it was only there if you wanted it to be there.
I
If
mean,
you didn't want the shit, it didn't have to be. That's
Well-
the sex scenes weren't that graphic.
well, I was gonna say, I mean, it's kind of also really along the lines of it kind of is part of the story if you do decide to take your shepherd down one of the, like you can't go romantic but then not do it.
Yeah.
Like the way you're describing it makes it sound like you could dodge around it but also still get that kind of ending and storyline progression, but you're kind of forced
You
into
kind of
it.
shoot yourself in the foot if you don't get too committed to any one partner. But point is, it's in your control. If you don't want it, you don't have to. All right, gameplay kind of inside. Whatever. Point is, it was one of those. It's not forced upon you. You have to choose to make it happen.
Mhm.
And I think that's the right approach to some of this. That said, you can't do that with every game format. I just think Mass Effect was unique in that you could.
I would say that is a good example.
Yeah.
I would also include The Witcher on this, only because of like it's just the way the world is. Um, like everything is just so like gritty and out there, right? It's like, oh, you go in the bathhouse, you like obviously you're gonna see people naked, and it's not like in a sexual way or anything like that. It's like, oh, this
Oh
is
yeah, Siri.
yeah. If anyone's been to a freaking gym locker room or anything like that, it's just like, okay, this is what motherfuckers do. Like,
Or
there's nothing promiscuous or sexual about it. It's literally just that. It's just,
or when when you run into the witches way later.
oh yeah,
I totally remember that because I had to edit that scene for YouTube because I had to blur all that. So whenever there was a scene like that, I had to blur shit.
oh my god, yeah.
So I
Tim
remember
would
most
know.
of those only because of how annoying it was to fucking blur edit
I
Witcher.
believe it. And like all of like the sex scenes in there, it's not like it was made for gratuitous and like there's a reason behind all of them, and it's not like
A lot of them are really
obviously
personal character moments.
they are, and they're important for the characters that are in the scene.
Yeah.
So I think this
So-
kind of brings the point home that you can have what's the term, graphic nudity if it serves a real purpose.
Yeah.
If its purpose is just to be eye candy, chances are the boys of the TNT podcast aren't all in on it.
Now,
There's
Is that
also a
safe to say?
gradient a little bit.
yeah,
Like I feel like you can get away with it like a little bit.
so a little bit. It depends on what kind.
Well, I'll put it this way: if a show says we're gonna do a beach episode, I'm not gonna drop it.
Yes. That's correct.
Yeah, the one beach episode is like whatever, man. Like it's there.
Hell,
it's
Shield
here, I might
Hero
as well see
Shield
it.
Hero had the fucking Hot Springs episode where nothing happened at all.
It's like the worst part is it was only like a minute.
You were there
Yeah.
for like a second.
I appreciated that. I'm not
Well,
gonna lie,
You know they can't do anything like that anymore now that we have Philo and Melty in the party.
dude.
Yeah, no, we can't. We
Did I,
can't
did I
risk
show
getting
you
kicked
guys
off
the
the air.
meme, or did you guys show me the
The-
meme? I think Freeman did, or not Freeman. Luigi did, where you can have 3 wishes. No, like
Oh,
falling in
yeah.
love, no wish to kill yourself. I want Melty and Shield to live together.
Oh, I
forever.
think I posted
You
that
only-
once.
that-
like,
No, I
marry.
thought. Are you sure?
Was it you?
I thought I
forget,
did.
Yeah.
Okay,
Someone
time to
did.
dig into the boys'
Go into the
chat.
chat.
Basically-
How far back do you got to find this thing?
But
We
basically,
share-
there
Oh
are
So-
no,
4
Tim
rules.
posted it.
Fucking
oh, no,
do
no,
it.
No, that's a different one.
Oh wait.
There are 4 rules.
Wait. Oh yeah, I found. No, yeah, here. No, you did. Damn it, Freeman, you did.
Got him.
I bet I saw it on. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
All right.
I wish
everything
now
that's going on
Fumi will
Shield
marry
Hero
with
is on.
Malty. There are 4 rules.
There are 4 rules.
So
No, but wait.
This-
I want to talk about something though. I want to talk. So now we said all this. We said our piece about like how we kind of feel, generally speaking.
is there still more right now?
Oh no,
no,
there's
no,
only,
we're wrapping it up here.
Okay.
we're wrapping, but I want to talk about one more thing that's been especially a very hot button topic, especially this. So viewers, if you haven't seen episode 2 of this season's Game of Thrones, you should skip to I don't know.
Five
But,
5 minutes from now. Whenever Tim
That's
will
probably
put the
even-
timestamp for
Hell no,
like,
I
wrap
won't
it,
remember
right?
to do that
No,
shit.
no, the timestamp for like closing / week.
Yeah, just skip to closing.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Yeah,
next
Yeah,
skip
just
one.
skip the
to
close. This is the
closing.
last point we're gonna make into this. All right, go ahead, Tyler.
So, you guys probably know what I'm talking about. The
You're
love
talking
scene
about-
between Arya and Genji.
You're
Yeah.
talking about
Not
the
Genji!
Genji.
Genji,
Genji!
I need healing.
I need healing. Mm. But oh no, but like for real though, like it was a very hot button topic because of, and you know what though, it's not because of, well no, there's a bunch of different reasons. There's nothing inherently wrong with the scene, right?
It was done tastefully.
It was done tastefully.
It's also
But
no
man,
sex
I could
depicted
not
on
get
screen.
the separation between the book age and the
Oh,
show
yeah.
age out of my head.
See, it's been
And
so
I-
long since I gave a shit about the books. It's just not even
That's
in my head
fair.
anymore.
Oh, but like it's forever there. Especially like I think it also drives home the point because we knew Maisie Williams in this show since she was what,
Like,
14?
yeah,
Like, she
yeah.
was,
I was gonna say pretty.
13.
No,
12 or
she just
13 in
turned
season 1.
18, and it's been like.
No, she didn't just turn 18. She's 20
No, she's
something now.
22.
Oh, wow. Never mind. I thought I remember hearing. Never mind. I
Yeah, that was like a couple
misinterpreted
years
something
ago.
I was told.
Or I think she's 20.
I
think she's 20,
misinterpreted something
21.
I was told. It's fine.
Yeah, no. So like her doing the scene is fine, but like everybody's like,
22.
wait a second. Oh, she is 22. Yeah. So, but I'm just like, what the fuck? I couldn't handle it.
So it's funny. I just saw on Reddit earlier. She apparently tweeted. Macy Williams herself said, "Y'all think you are embarrassed or weirded out watching it? I'm positive that my mother, stepfather, 2 sisters, and 4 brothers have already watched it. Kill me."
Yeah, her and Sophie Turner are great. I like their Twitter posts. They're pretty funny. But yeah, it was fine. Objectively, it was fine. There's nothing gratuitous about it.
There's some tasteful side boob.
There is some tasteful side boob, indeed. But at the same time, like, Jesus, no, wait, I've known you not in real life
Since you were a child.
since you were a child, and I don't.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's just how I felt the whole time. Like when Leslie and I were watching that episode, she's like, "Wait, no, that ain't gonna happen." I'm like, "No, it's happening. It's happening."
As
Like,
soon as you
when-
saw Gendry like all sweated up and in the forge working
I
real
fucked
hard.
up. I said this line,
Oh,
right?
no.
When he dipped the dragon glass
Oh,
sword in
Tyler.
the quench, I was like, "You could quench me any day." And then it happened. I was like, "No, wait, it was a joke. It was a joke." No.
All right, let's get to closing so that we can play a little Overdank before sleep. Unless assuming we don't even already have to go to bed by the time we finish closing. Tyler, what are you doing this week?
I'll say I ain't playing no Overdank. I'm playing shit. Wait, what's this game? Katana Zero. I don't know why I forgot this.
What's this
game
game
for a
I'm playing
second.
right now?
What's this game?
It's
I'm playing
Katana Zero. Okay,
Katana Zero. Yo, it's a new game. I forget who the developer was, but it was published by Devolver Digital.
Of course it was. Of course it
Yes.
was.
Of course, that's how you get the theme. I'm telling you. So, listeners, if you are any way, shape, or form into Hotline Miami, and if you guys remember, Hotline Miami was one of my top 10 games of all time. You guys should give this a shot.
I mean, it's not that
It's-
high for me, but I like me some Hotline. And I'll sometimes Hotline's one of those games you can also just reinstall. It downloads in like 2 minutes, unless your
Yeah,
internet's
you
absolute
play
trash,
it
and then
for,
you just
like-
play through half the game in one sitting.
It literally took me less than 10 seconds to download and install
Katana.
Katana Zero. Yeah.
Forgetting the game already.
I almost said
Hotline
Sekiro
Zero.
because I'm like, yo, there's so many freaking samurai games out right now. It's ridiculous.
There are many.
But the premise is you play as this street samurai who is a hitman. So kind of like Hotline Miami. So, but it's side scrolling. I really enjoy it.
Honestly, I'm a little
think it's
intrigued
fantastic.
because I actually heard a comparison to Mark of the Ninja, and I really liked all those clay
Mm.
games like Shank, Mark of the Ninja, and
Oh yeah. I would say it's kind of like those two. It's
I would like
solid.
to play another game in that style again.
Yeah. So I'm playing that, and I'm also still playing through The Witcher.
But you know what? It's not a chore because it's so fucking good.
Honestly, yo, I'll be honest with
Uh-oh.
you. It wasn't a chore up until that house.
Yeah, the
The
house
house
takes
kind
a
of
minute.
was a chore.
It's real
Everything else
slow
was
walking.
fine.
It's real slow walking.
But
But
how
you'll
long is this house?
it's
Dude,
maybe
it
an
took
hour.
It took me like an hour.
That's considering how long the game is, that's such a fractional percentage, but in the actual moment, yeah, the house takes a minute.
Doing it, I'm like,
It's like you walk slow everywhere, and it's like you just wander around
Yeah.
this burned up house. You're learning I mean, it's really cool backstory that you're learning, but like,
it's cool backstory, but like I
It's
didn't
like,
need to
oh
know
my
either
God.
so much of it.
yeah.
I
Well,
guess
you'll see. You'll see. It kind of plays in, but you're not You said you just got out of the house, so you still have stuff
I
to do.
just got out of the house, so it's not everything in the DLC. So I'm playing for context for people who've watched Tim's Let's Play or have played the game. I've beaten the main story, and I am currently working through the Hearts of Stone DLC.
And you still have Blood and Wine.
I know, I got Blood and Wine. I'm
Blood and
pretty
Wine's
excited
so
still.
good.
Yeah, and I think so. My game clock is actually kind of wrong because there's a couple times where
Leave the game.
I left it. So I
Yep.
would say I'm about 105 hours in.
Oh man, you're approaching Persona 5 territory here.
I mean,
Yeah, dude,
I gotta check.
This is your Persona 5.
If I didn't have to
this is
re-download
my-
Witcher to check my time, I'd do it.
Damn, this is
Let's see
my
if
Persona
GOG has
5.
it. I wonder if GOG has it just listed. Let's see.
Like it's been taking me like quite a while, but like I enjoy like almost
So
every second of
good.
it though.
It's
I
so-
couldn't recommend this game anymore.
Yeah, it's every spare second you're playing Witcher is just like, yep, I'm still enjoying this.
Like if you want a high fantasy world where you make decisions, like honestly, like the decisions in this game are a lot better. Like I love Mass Effect 2. Everybody who I know, like who knows me, like they know I really enjoy Mass Effect 2. But like the choices in The Witcher are so good and obscure. Like half the time you don't know if you're making a good decision or not.
Yep.
And that's what I deeply enjoy about it. So I want to play that.
Tyler, I'm sad you don't have this on GOG, do you?
I do not.
Because we could actually, apparently Luigi has played 3%, has 3% of the achievements in Witcher, and I have 60. I have 130 hours in Witcher 3, but again, I also left it running a little while. But then again, Toussaint is like 20 hours again.
Yeah, I have 40% of the achievements,
Damn.
according to Steam.
Those are
But
rookie
yeah,
numbers.
those are rookie numbers. You got to pump those numbers up. Wolf of Wall Street reference for everybody.
For
who
anyone
doesn't
who's
know.
wondering.
Yeah,
But yeah, you're catching up on my hours, dude.
Yeah.
You're getting there. But you're it would be pretty hilarious if you ended around the same time I do. After like considering how much 100 hours is.
Yeah, I know. 100 hours.
Like we're talking about 5 full days of life.
I know, it's amazing. And you know what though too? Like this game is kind of how I got back into games a lot more because for the longest time I've been trying to, and then like with the whole moving and some
Yep.
other situations that had been going on, I hadn't had time to play anything.
Dude, I've kind
So-
of been in that boat. I'll get to that in my segment, but yeah, I totally
yeah,
feel
making
that.
time for this was really good. I'm really glad I did. It's been I haven't made time for a game really since God of War. So yeah, this was a nice
Make
thing.
time.
Yeah, gotta make time. But yeah, so yeah, that's about it. I'm not really doing anything. I'm not seeing Infinity War.
The Infinite
Infinity
War.
War.
The end
Infinity
game.
War. Endgame.
Infinity War.
Oh yeah, because it's not Infinity War. Oh yeah, it's literally just Avengers.
It's not
Endgame.
Infinity War Part 2, it's just
Yeah, it's
Endgame.
Endgame.
Right.
Speaking of Endgame, it's actually kind of funny. Apparently, Marvel or Kevin Feige, I never know how to pronounce his name, said that this is not actually the end of Phase 3. Spider-Man Homecoming or Spider-Man Far From Home is, which I
I
find
could
kind of
see
neat.
that.
Interesting distinction.
Yeah, that's really neat. But I mean, isn't Homecoming also coming out this year? I keep saying Homecoming.
You
Far
mean
From Home.
I'm
Is
pretty
it
sure
Far
it's-
From Home?
I'm pretty sure it's a holiday release. Let me double check.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie though. I don't think I've said this on the show yet, but I think I'm gonna give Marvel movies.
Oh no, Far From Home's in
hard-
July.
Oh
That's
shit.
what I thought. Yeah, it's also
Never
the
mind.
fourth weekend.
Yeah, after Far From Home, I'm giving Marvel movies a hard break. Like
Let's
wait until they come out
see.
on DVD.
The only
Oh, you just mean like not
that's
seeing
a
them in
long
theaters?
time.
Yeah, like not see them in theaters. Like I'm kind of burnt out.
That's fine. You just do what I do and not watch anyone's Avengers happen.
That's
Yeah,
pretty fair. I want to see how things are after Endgame and Far From Home, because also Far From Home is the end of the Sony Marvel contract that they had. So like Spider-Man, I think, is a little up in the air about, because Sony might be like, well, we want to take it back and put him in the Venom universe.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I can understand that fatigue. I am not really feeling it yet, but I can definitely understand it. You're not the only person I've heard say, "Hey, Marvel fatigue." Is that it, Tyler? Is that
Oh
all you
yeah,
got?
that's it for me.
Freeman, you got anything?
Yes, I'm blasting through Final Fantasy X, making progress there. I already talked about all the anime I watched this week. I'm gonna watch whatever Fox Senko-san, whatever the hell it's called, this week. Once I wrap up watching Domestic Girlfriend, that show is literal actual trash, and I don't know why I'm still watching it. But I think Luigi finished it, so I need to watch the ending so I can talk about how trashy it was with him. Because that's all we do. Our hobby now is we watch trashy anime and talk about it on the side during D&D. So I gotta wrap that. I have to wrap that up before I watch anything else. But nothing too new. Actually, no. I think War of the Spark pre-releases this weekend,
You're correct, sir.
which means Sealed is going to be up on Arena. So I'm going to play.
Yes.
So I'm going to play. I'm pretty good at Sealed. If I can win enough to just keep rolling, I'm going to put enough money in to actually buy one round of Sealed and then see what happens. Generally, I try to do 3 rounds Sealed and then at that point open any prize packs I got. So that's my plan. I'll probably do that on Saturday. Is just play Sealed.
Cool.
That's it for me.
As far as me, that I kind of wanted to go at the end just because I things are YouTube related, changing a little bit going forward, and I don't know. I kind of meant to do this as its own standalone video, but I figured the podcast is kind of a good place to do it because at this point, most of the people who still care about the channel to any real degree listen to the podcast every week. So I figured this is where I can kind of just sink this in instead of doing some weird on-face thing. But I made a conscious, for people who watch the channel, they've seen that there hasn't really been any uploads in a little while. Last video that went up was the podcast last week, and me and Freeman did our live stream on Sunday. I have decided to not step away or stop, but slow down on YouTube. I've basically, I started YouTube almost 10 years ago and started Let's Playing about 7 or 8 years ago, seriously. And since then, I've pretty consistently had I've tried to meet at least a video. There's been times and years and months where it's been 2 a day. And that's been a long time. And I'm kind of getting to the point where I don't want to wake up on the weekends really early so that I can record for an hour and a half, edit it, and then get it uploaded overnight and leave my computer chugging all night and blow my weekend mornings when I'd like to just sleep in and recover from a week of work. And, weeknights, spend some time with my girlfriend and do things like that. So while I'm not... Basically, I'm tired of playing things for the sake of playing things. Like, I was trying to figure out what game to play next, and I was kind of I realized I was at this point where, man, I don't really have anything I want to play. I either play, like, a Star Wars Season 2 again, just 'cause it'll get a few more views, or I play some random thing, like I play Darkest Dungeon or something, and then play a bunch of it off camera, and then also play it on camera, and yeah. I just was like, I'm not feeling any of this, so I'm kind of just stepping away a little bit, because I'm at the point in my life where YouTube is never going to be a job. I never wanted it to be a job, but I'm at the point where I have to actually make the decision that YouTube doesn't own as much of my life, especially considering what I get out of it. So while there will definitely still be videos, like the podcast is not going anywhere. This is one of the most fun things I do every week. We're still doing this podcast.
No, podcast canceled.
No,
podcast
I'm not even.
Podcast officially canceled.
And like me and Tyler are definitely still going to do Halo Legendary, because Halo is going to be a thing that I play with Tyler regardless. So recording it for almost our posterity so that we can laugh and watch it, like, I know that would be a thing that I could watch and laugh 10 years in the future at me and Tyler bumbling around in Halo. That just sounds like it'll be fun. So that's the kind of thing that I want to record, and I think other people will have fun watching. But That's what it comes down to. I don't feel like I've been having fun in recent Let's Plays, and I think the problem is I'm just trying to do it for the sake of feeling like I have to do it. And I'm definitely going to just play what I want. If there's something I want to play and put up, I will. Like Sins. I want to finish the Sins LP. I still have the TEC to play as. When I find time, I'll play as the TEC and record it. But I'm not gonna chase this daily upload thing that I've been chasing. I'm kind of done with that. So, yeah. So I'd like to say that there will be no more consistent uploads except for the podcast, but what I do upload will be things that I will enjoy a lot more, and I like to think the commentary will be good, and I'll be energetic again instead of just like I played Tomb Raider recently, and I was just kind of like, ugh, this is gonna end. I don't want to play this anymore. And I don't want to be like that. That's not the point of YouTube. So that's why I said, so that's that message. And that's why I kind of started playing Third Age on the TV in the living room so that I could, because Tyler, I got jealous when you would talk about how you and Leslie would play games in the living room. And I'm like, I want to do that with Val. So I'm trying to play Third Age and show her that a little bit. And then Oblivion is one of my favorite games ever. But watching me tinker with shit for an hour is not a good Let's Play. Watching me try to figure out how to cheat my levels a little higher while not making the game unplayable is was what I spent an hour doing yesterday. And I just kind of want that for me. So, yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with all that. And yeah, I understand if people don't want to subscribe anymore or anything, but I'd like to think anyone who's listening to this podcast listens for the fun we have, not for just the fact that it's another podcast every week.
Well, people are here for the hard-hitting weeaboo news.
That's true too.
Oh yeah.
That's true too. But yeah, so maybe I'll actually do a vlog or something, I don't know, but I wanted to at least say it on the podcast because I know a lot of
it's
the
vlog, Tim.
It's actually almost daily vlog, which hasn't been daily in over 4 years. That was what I always called them. I called them almost daily vlogs. Back when I first started them, I would do them like every other day. And then just for the meme, I would do them like once a year. But other than that, still watching Shield Hero because that's great. Trying to figure out Avengers this week. I might actually get to play a second night of Commander going forward.
That's so much Commander.
Two of the guys from my group who tend to work weekends asked if I'd be interested in trying to play during the week, and I said I could do Wednesdays while you guys, or Freeman, while you and the other guys are in the middle of Leslie's D&D game. They said they'll get back to me, but if they do, great. If not, I'm not driving 40 minutes on every Wednesday just to go play more Commander with them at the store for like 2 hours. But we'll see. Other than that, not much. Just waiting for War of the Spark to come out so I can order a bunch of cards with my store credit. Gotta sell more cards. Gotta always sell more cards. Yeah, not much else. Just kind of getting ready for the fallout that Val's gonna... Val's fallout from Endgame that I'll have to pick up the pieces from.
It's fine. I have some wholesome anime you guys can watch to deal with the fallout.
Yeah, I put on the first episode and we only watched a minute of it because Val fell asleep, but I think I'm going to try to sit down and actually watch Laid Back Camp. I only ever actually watched like the last 3 episodes of that show consistently because Val started it by herself. You probably remember this.
Yeah, I do, because I remember I told her to watch it one day when she wasn't feeling that great.
Yeah.
Just sit down and watch the show.
And then I watched the last few because she insisted she rewatched them and she's like, no, you need to see this.
I don't know if Laid Back Camp is a show I'd recommend marathoning. It was definitely nice to watch once in a while. It's just like
I don't know about marathoning, but like considering I also have been I did a bunch of yard work today and have more to do tomorrow. Like the foreseeable future is not full of free time for me. That's also part of why YouTube is kind of getting the axe because hey,
you're just kind of tied up.
Yeah, and it's
something's got to give.
Exactly, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Something had to give, and YouTube doesn't give back what I give it worth. So that's what's getting kind of cut back. Like I said, never mind. I don't need to do the whole thing again. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Although maybe more live streams will happen because that was fun. Maybe me and Freeman will do more Magic live. Actually, we did talk about doing more Magic live streams where we actually play Commander with each other.
That requires coordination for both of us to be online at the same time.
Well,
That's very tricky.
that was
to
the
do.
point of doing Siege. Like, that's something I'd still record, but Game of Thrones is happening for the next
Well,
month.
once Thrones is over, Sundays may become.
May,
Fine.
quote
I
unquote.
mean, for people, we could play before Thrones.
So we can't because I made plans before Thrones for the next couple weeks.
See,
Yo, I
see.
What plans do you have that are so important?
The same group of friends I watched Thrones with wants to like watch the shows that we missed during the week because of my traveling around
Alright,
the world bullshit.
Listen,
Alrighty.
they can fuck off. I don't know them, so I'm gonna be
I don't
disrespectful
know
to them. That's how it's happening.
Alrighty. Well, I think it sounds like we should end this and maybe go play a little bit of Overdank. Who the fuck? Oh my god. Sorry, I just checked my mail and saw that I have a new Netflix sign-in from an iPad in Texas, and I'm like, my brother is fucking signing in on more shit.
Dang.
Fucking asshole. Anyway. Thanks for listening, everybody. This podcast will be back hopefully next week, but it will return. Don't worry about that.
Avengers will return.
No, that's from James Bond. That was the fucking greatest. In the old James Bond movies, they would always end with James Bond will return in, or just James Bond will return. It's always the greatest. That's where I guarantee that's kind of where they got the Thanos.
Really got it from?
I mean, I don't know if James Bond is the originator, but I remember watching all the James Bond movies with my dad and it being like, Dad, what's the next one? And he just pointed at the screen. It's like James Bond will return in Moonraker or some shit because they already knew what the next one was going to be. But yeah, the TNT podcast will return in episode 76.
Yeah. But no. I thought we were 74 this week.
I thought we were 75 this week. Fuck, I gotta check it again.
Anyway, as always.
75. We'll return it. You're right. We will return. The TNT podcast will return with episode 75 some point in the near future. Thank you all so much for listening. My name's Timpedia.
I'm Friedman.
Just Tyler.
And we'll catch you guys next time.